You say,
Yeah, and
yeah,
they have doors. Some of them have these huge boulder doors that you roll in. They clearly look for like people were, your protection, hiding or whatever. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
If we had a
Well, I mean,
fierce, if we had a really fierce sun in our past, they were so fierce that we couldn't live above ground. It was so hot and it was cooler underground. Then that could just be an obvious reason.
Yeah, natural air conditioning. Yep.
We've got it in Edinburgh. We've got it in Poland, and we've got in many Krakow, many places around the world. Yeah, underground. But if those places underground are only apparent in certain areas, then did they have a intense sun or intense cold? And it was actually warm underground,
I,
maybe.
but
Yeah, or
also,
protection from war. Who knows? Yeah, but any one of those options, certainly.
and then just hang out in the dark, where it's nice. Oh wait, how did they see in the dark? What's going on with that? Maybe they had better eyes. They had such sensitive eyes they could see in the dark. They didn't need like lights.
Well, we can go with torches, right? Unless it's in
We would we would see a
really
whole bunch of
cramped
soot.
shafts in the pyramids.
We would see crazy soot marks though everywhere, right? If it's a habited area, and then everybody would die from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what kind of light did they have, or did they see in the dark?
Well, here we're talking about huge caverns, so that's not a problem. Where I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was thinking about Turkey or whatever, or wherever that is, Malta.
No, but those were ventilated. Don't think
Hmm.
you would suffocate in there. All those things had ventilation. You were able to breathe in there at all times.
Yeah, yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily think every person could like light a fire so they could read a book at night or whatever. Maybe they just like all went to sleep. They
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
went there to sleep or something, and then got to their places in the dark. I don't know, man. It just that something about it seems like it's like totally stripped too. There's like nothing to it, right? The big underground one near Turkey. It's like all mud. Like you don't even see like cave. There's no cave paintings. There's no calendars,
Yeah, that's why it leads me to
throw
believe it
pillows.
was like a thing in time of. It wasn't a dwelling. It was like a thing in time of war. You can escape a whole village in there, or whatever. Women and children and the men would go fight, some sort of
Oh,
thing
okay,
like that.
some shit out of Lord of the Rings, like
Yeah, because there's no decorations in there. There's no nothing. It wasn't like the a permanent living quarters. The one
just
in
to keep
Turkey.
sort of
Yeah, probably. I mean, who knows?
women and children. Awesome, that is possible. That's a lot of work to do though for that purpose. I don't know. There's that. I, why do people start to go in the ground? Like either there's like fissures and caverns and stuff, and they can explore them, or they're like, hey, we're pretty certain there's some good stuff in this ground. Otherwise, why do all the work?
Otherwise, the surface is toxic.
Your words are lies. No, what'd you say?
What's up,
I said,
Coco?
what's going on, you guys? I said, otherwise, the surface is toxic. Like, I know you guys don't believe the story, but they say after the meteor 65 million years ago, or any of those types of events, the the creatures that were able to live either underground or in the sky, they had the best chance of surviving.
You mean they anticipated the meteor and dug, or they saw a catastrophe and they said, "Let me dig this for the next one."
Well, they had telescopes, so they could see it coming. Or rather, it's probably more likely the case that they happen to already be, inclined to be living underground. So it's like they were living underground at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why
Like
not?
they
Yeah,
were
that makes
underwater.
sense. Sure. Any one of those is a viable thing because we know all of those are possibilities.
But they say the same about the Ice Age as well. Like during the Ice Age, humans. Very few of them that survived, but the ones that did, they lived in caves and stuff.
Well, that makes the most sense. A coming ice age. Yeah. But I don't know if they're that old. Those are they that old? The ones in Turkey? I don't think they're 12,000 years old because the oldest
Oh yeah,
thing they found was in what's it called?
the Göbekli
Göbekli
Tepe.
Temple. Yeah, and that's
That's
7,000.
I thought that was
Right?
10,000. 10,000 less.
Was it 10? Okay.
Yeah, I always aged it. It's like it seems to coincide with just about that time, like the end of the ice age.
I don't remember the dating of those dwellings, so I'm not gonna say I don't know. But I think they
Well,
were
last I heard it was 10,000 plus.
those underground dwellings. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they were underground. They got buried. They said they were purposely buried, but I don't know. But yeah, so they were covered in dirt and shit like that. I don't think they were underground though.
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe was supposed to be filled in, but I don't know. They say that with other ones too, but I don't know if they were just
Which
filled
ones?
in. I don't know.
Which ones? I'm sorry. I'm just curious. I didn't know that.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think there are some other like sites that are similar to Göbekli Tepe that also seem to be filled in. I don't know if the maybe the is the calendar accurate? Göbekli Tepe's calendar, like
All this is
Their calendar?
guesswork. All this
I,
is guesswork.
it is total guesswork.
We could look at the dating for Göbekli Tepe. I'm guessing that the fact that they have
Yeah.
any date means that they verified because any dating method they do two or more corresponding methods that give you the same around the same time. Otherwise, they're not going to even announce anything.
Yeah, well, I can show you a tree growing inside of strata, which they claim is thousands of years old, and clearly the tree is not thousands of years old. So, like I said, at best, these are guesses in the dating.
I just
I'm
don't
sure you've
understand why
seen that.
it's a certain things like in the Göbekli Tepe, like the design, like the jaguar seems to resemble something I might like find in like Peruvian or Inca or Aztec stuff. Like it's
Jaguar.
weird. I find some similitude to those two cultures somehow.
Maybe I'm behind, but I didn't know anything about jaguar.
There's like inscription, like designs cut into the Göbekli Tepe, whatever those structures are, the
Oh
uprights.
yeah, yeah. Because I researched it a while ago, but I did hear recently there because I didn't know there was inscriptions found back when I researched it, but I did hear recently that they did find some kind of language or inscriptions that haven't yet been like decoded or translated.
Yeah, I'd say the further back you go, the less you know, I guess. But uh, yeah, there's got to be a connection to the South American, um, whatever those kingdoms there. There have to be connections to other places. I don't think they
What's
just are by themselves doing that thing.
what's the oldest South American civilization that we know about? How old are the
The
Incas?
Aborigines in
Well,
Australia, no competition.
No, but I mean
that's
in South
Australia.
America.
He's talking about America's South. Yeah, in the southern hemisphere. Yeah,
Hey, Kosho.
What's up, man?
Hemiplane. Somebody southern hemiplane.
Hey, Kosho. Remember how we were talking about the video of the entirety of the mission for Artemis?
Oh, the Artemis. Oh yeah, yeah.
So I made the mistake by going over to Gems,
Okay, and I say mistake because it was futile. I made the mistake by going over there and tried to explain to them that by their own words, they said that there was going to be a entirety of the mission recorded video, documentation. Now these guys are, over there. They were so against that, and then Jem's excuse was that nobody wants to see a 2 weeks worth of video, right? To explain why they didn't have a video of Artemis launching and then splash downing. Now, I posted to Gem's server a 4-year time lapse of SoFi Stadium, of which we built in Southern California for the Ram Stadium. I posted a video 4 years time lapse, and he was trying to say that they wouldn't want to do a 2 weeks mission long time lapse. What do you say about that, Kosho?
You understand a 4-year time lapse isn't a continuously running video, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to post it here? I can post it here if you want. A matter of fact, I will.
Post it here, but it wouldn't matter. It's not a continuous. I mean, how long is the video? How long is the time lapse?
It covers 4 years of construction.
I know, but how long is the video?
I don't know. I posted it. Let me press play real quick. I'll tell you right now. It's I can scrub through it. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes of a fucking video to represent 4 hours, Kosho. So why
4 hours or 4 years?
I'm sorry. 4 years. Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. A 4-year project construction job condensed down to fucking 3 minutes. Why would NASA do a 2-week operation? It is a video.
Clearly not a continuous. It's not a continuous video. First of all, it's different shots in different areas.
Do you understand what time lapse is? Do you understand what time lapse is?
Yeah, I understand what a time lapse is.
Okay.
The problem here is it's not a continuous video. It's a time lapse taken of different pictures.
Well, okay. That's fair. That's fair. Then why can't you have your 28 cameras time lapse? And I don't care if you want to switch the camera from another angle, but why not have the entirety of the mission, Kosho? Because he said,
"You want me to time lapse it for you?"
Yes, please.
I can do that.
Yeah. I want to show the Earth getting smaller and smaller and smaller as it travels through your vacuum space you believe in. Please post the link. Thank you.
Give me some time.
All right.
Hey, Apocryphon, you made me think of something. Surely there must be a time lapse of them building the ISS, right? Such an important project.
Exactly.
I'll produce that for you as well.
Hey, there's a time lapse of things on Earth that are like construction marvels, right? Like, oh my God, we built this. This is awesome that we built it. But yet, the most important thing to humanity, it's not recorded. That's fucking funny to me, though.
It turns out that it is recorded.
Oh, please post it. Post it, please. Post it.
What they didn't do though is they didn't take an image with the camera at the same position, 3 times a day, and then put that together to make a video like this.
Okay.
Did.
Well, show me what you got, Bubba. Show me what you got, Bubba. We'll go from there.
I mean, have you never seen the footage of the ISS being built? There's like several videos.
Time lapse?
I saw the
time lapse. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, in space. I mean, I've seen the video of them constructing it for the ground over in Texas. I've seen that video, but show me the one in space.
They didn't construct it in the ground.
Are you kidding? So are you saying that they don't have an ISS model?
The replica.
Yes, yeah. They have that video, but show me the one in space, please. Show me the one in space. That would be awesome.
Okay. They did it in stages, right? Like they didn't do it all in one day.
Oh, okay. Well, you guess what?
Clear, so it's going to be several.
Okay. I cannot imagine a world where it was all done in one day, because SoFi Stadium, it took 4 years for us to build it. 4 years, Kosho. So I agree with you. You're right. It's not going to be just a one day or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year. It's obviously going to be over time. So please post that. Let's go from there, Bubba. Let's go from there. It's going to be, one of those things, Kosho, where, I mean, that's only the tip of the iceberg, because now where's the 24/7 video documentation of the entirety of the Artemis mission? And that was the real argument, by the way. That was the real argument. I'm still waiting for that video.
Jem made a good point. Same point that I made to you, which is that in the video, the guy's expressing two different things. In one breath, he's saying, we're going to be we're going to be recording continuous footage, all these different shots, recording this and taking note of this and blah blah blah. And then in the next breath, he said, "This is the first time we're going to be live streaming blah 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 from the vicinity of the moon."
Yeah,
Right, so
I agree.
He's not saying in one breath, "Oh, by the way, the last thing I'm talking about is this thing that we're going to be continuously live streaming to you."
Oh my God, Kosho!
He's not saying that.
Don't fall in that stupid bucket, bro. Like those guys. Look at.
Hey, let me ask you this: why would he say that?
Because he's literally saying that this mission is to the moon. So
I know, but why is he announcing something that they're not going to do? Why is he announcing something that they're not going to provide to you?
That's my question. That's my question to you. Don't fucking reverse that shit.
Yeah,
don't play Uno.
He's not doing that.
Don't play the Uno card on me, bro. My question to you is, why didn't they provide this video evidence that he said himself the entirety of the mission they're gonna have recorded, digitally recorded? Don't fucking play the Uno reverse card, bro.
Apocryphon. Like, man, you admitted like 6 hours ago you were wasted, dude. Like, please, man, just settle down a little bit. Settle down, like, tone it down.
By the way,
you're always, yeah, of course you are, dude. You haven't slept, dude. Just tone it down and.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I understand your
kettle things.
You're always very like emotional about it. Like you seem very passionate about everything that you say.
I love his passion.
Thank you, Kosho. I want to know why I'm so passionate about it, because when there's truth, you should be passionate about the truth, bro. Like, if there's a lie to the truth, you should be passionate to be like, no, it's not that. Like, you should be passionate about it.
True,
that there's a fallacy. Okay, go ahead.
But in nature, not because there's people who will have a drink and they will never. Okay, they will seldom make a foolish mistake, like become passionate about something that turns out to be benign, because they're being careful. And so sometimes it pays to carefully, assess whatever the claim is. Like, if
that's fair.
I mean, the thing that I was getting,
if the claim is honestly that the guy is saying two different things and he's not necessarily promised you something that they didn't deliver on, that nobody claimed they would deliver on, then
look,
don't be so passionate about it.
Go ahead. No, I have nothing wrong with passion or anything with that. Like, but probably because he's been drinking for so long, from so early. He's been going on with this, like, his voice is always his tone. I'm just pointing out his tone. It's always like, no, just listen to me. Like, please hear me out. Like, look, this is the way it is. And then one thing doesn't necessarily follow the other, but just listen to me. Okay, like, dude, you have to fucking somehow put that in check. Like, you have to actually, like,
fair. That's fair. Let me talk at a calmer demeanor. That's fine. That's fair. So, Kosho, listen to me. This is the fact. Go on.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, what was your takeaway from Gems?
By the way, speaking of Gem, I saw him in the chat today. He was in the text chat over here today.
Yeah, he was.
He's good people.
And he's talking a lot of shit about what's it.
He was in here this morning typing stuff, and then I think I just did a search and it looks like he was in yesterday typing as well on here. I've never heard him in the VC here though, but I guess he does come in text sometimes.
Like I said, Jim's a good friend of mine. He's good people. And I think he made a good point. So I don't know what was your takeaway though, Apocryphon.
That they're a bunch of idiots.
Okay. Okay.
That was the same
and-
tone. That was the same tone. You said you were gonna mellow. You need some kind of fucking supplement to like just lower your fucking. It's like everything is being pressed. That was a very simple question. You're like, I'm
No,
good on this.
no. I'm
Simple
sorry.
answer.
I'm sorry. If you listen in the background, it's kind of loud here. So I'm sorry if I spoke louder because I was like trying to speak over that loudness.
I think he's overreacting, man. I think you're
It's well, no, I'm trying to overact slightly to try to make the point. Like he's
Hold on. Okay.
everything is at a level 11 with him. Just like bring it back to like a level 8. You know, like
all right.
it's like everything that is said, like you've been attacked. You know,
Okay,
but it's not. That's not always the case. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So I walked away from the noise. So let me answer that again at a calmer, peaceful, because it's quieter now where I'm at in the backyard. Because over there they're building a pool table, so it's really loud because they have music going. There's like 7 people over there building a pool table. So I walked away from there, and now calmly for you, because it's all love. What did I take away from that? They're idiots. Same answer, by the way.
All right, let's bring it back from an 11 to a 10. You got like 2 more levels to go.
That's what's up, though. But
I don't know if
I
it's worth.
agree.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I disagree with Jim's sentiments. Jim made the point that I was making, and I hope that well, I know it won't be accepted by you because you have an argument there. But I think that if you look at it honestly, that there is an argument there. That the guy's obviously not promising you. He may have taken that from him, but that's not what the guy's saying. He's not saying they're promising you this thing that they're capable of doing.
Well, here was their argument. They said that because he said in one breath that the entirety of the mission was going to be recorded visually, and then on the next breath he says this is going to be the first time that we're going to have this, this recording from the moon.
No. I got you now. Check this out, dude. What
I'll
he said
post the video
was,
again if you need it.
yeah, post it again, because what he said was, we're gonna be we're gonna be recording everything from this, and that, all these different aspects. And then the next sentence, he said, this is the first time we're gonna be live streaming in the vicinity of the moon. And now I'm thinking about it, dude. Those are certainly two different thoughts. Okay, because here's why. Because the stuff that they live streamed and sent back was what do you call that? It's
let me just get the video. Let me just hear it from those guys.
it had to be compressed. It had to be compressed, and
you got to hear it from you got to hear it from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? You have to hear what he says, and then you can try to deviate up his sentences and try to. Oh, there it is. You can do that. That's fair. But I'm just saying. Damn it! How do I? Oh shit! I can't copy it back. Oh, maybe I don't know. No, I can't.
I want to point out. I've started drinking, so I'm gonna be the next Apocryphon. But like this dude started this shit out in the very morning. Like in like seriously, like 8 in the morning. He was like, "Sorry, I'm a little bit wasted."
No. Since 3 a.m. I've been drinking. Get it straight.
Okay, right.
Okay, well,
What time zone are you in?
It's 2 o'clock right now. It's 2 o'clock right now.
You can't have
2
two guys going at
yeah.
each other. So
no,
if
dude.
anything,
I'm just getting started. I won't be his level for like another 6 hours or something. Like
That's fair.
it's the thing. Like,
well, as long as you're not calling the pot calling the kettle black, right? Because
no.
Let me go.
Actually, I'm the one basically who brought that up. Like, I'm probably going to be the pot calling the kettle black.
I know, but
just give me
I said
time.
that when you started complaining. Is this a pot and kettle situation?
Hey, Kosho, can you go back in the text messages and repost the video I posted about that I showed you? I mean, I can do it too, but
yeah, I know
probably
you're
easier for
beginning
you.
to be like Jeremy, dude. I gotta do
Oh,
shit that
hey,
he easily
that-
can do.
There's just it's not the drinking thing. Yeah, there's just like a different vibe. Like when someone's drunk and other people are not. I mean, everybody's different, of course. Some people are like belligerent, some are less belligerent, but it's just like a different vibe. It just like you have like a whole room of sober people. They're trying to have a conversation. It happened last night. This one guy, Explore Flat Earth, came in and he was just wasted. It was just like,
But Jem, to my argument or to
and
my
people
defense,
call someone Gem when they're not Gem. So.
oh my
Jim's
god,
not
oh my
here.
god, sorry,
Take a
Gio,
note, dude.
Gio. But to my
No,
defense, Gio.
Apocryphon. Actually, listen. Instead of laughing at yourself like it's okay.
I am. But Gio, to my defense,
Oh my god.
am I belligerent when I come in here?
Yes.
I'm actually. I feel like I'm cool and happy and like I don't
No,
overtalk people.
look, no. You are. You're at least you're a happy drunk, right?
Called me
Like
the N-word once.
at least you're a happy drunk. You don't come in getting like just belligerent and pissed.
I'm not a
But-
dick.
Yeah, you're not a dick. You're not a dick. That's absolutely true. But what I've noticed over the last several hours, like, is that you do sort of derail the conversation, which is this is what happens. I do it myself. So this is projection too. Where once I've been drinking, like people in here, I'll admit to it, and when they call me on it, I'm good enough to go like, "You're right. I've been doing that. And I'm sorry," and I'll mute myself. Most of the time, not always.
I do that
You know
too.
you know how
Let's just
well,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know how like,
Jeremy tells me all the time. Jeremy, well, he'd be like, he'd be like, calm down, and I'll DM him like, dude, I'm calm. Like, I'll shut up and I'll mute myself. Like, I'm not
Right,
trying
but
to be
you
a
were,
dick.
that only
you were
lasts for
warned
like
earlier. You were warned earlier by Jeremy. You were like, and I'm talking like 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, something like that. That you were warned for this already.
this
Like,
ironic conversation we're having. I think lacks self-awareness because I think maybe we should be aware of it and then move on because it's kind of happening right now a little bit.
Well, it is like a question of how to moderate it. I think about it a lot because I'm not. I don't know. It's kind of harsh to me just to be like, "Oh, you're drunk. You're muted for the day. Gone." Or you're just timed out for a day. Even though, for the sake of the room, that might be the better thing to do. Because when someone's wasted and they're monologuing, derailing, and blathering and belligerent, whatever it is that they're doing, it's like always pretty much problematic. Like maybe there's some people that can hold their alcohol really well that don't do that, but
yeah,
And
no,
But am I doing that? But do I do
and
that?
myself do both hold our alcohol pretty well, apparently. But like,
Absolutely.
but I actually appreciate a little bit of that of moderation early before I get too far gone. Like if I've really stepped on some grounds, like if somebody explains it, I'm gonna be like, look, okay, fine, I'm done for the night. They're right. You know what I mean?
But here's
Like,
this simple. You don't have to police the drunkenness. You just have to police people equally all the time because if it doesn't matter if somebody's drunk. It just matters if they're interrupting, if they're
Exactly.
incessantly interjecting, if they have to
Exactly.
interject after everybody else's, input. Even though it was directed to somebody else, they're still interjecting. And then also if they're monologuing for like a long time. But that's the same for people even if they're not drunk. So I think this as long as if somebody's visibly drunk and are passionate, like Pogfron sometimes is passionate, and you may not be doing any of those others, like you may not be interrupting or whatever. So I mean those times I think it's fine. It's just only if you are getting in there every time after
I
somebody
agree.
talks, then
well, what I was getting to is that he's already he displayed this. He displayed this like hours ago, where the conversation was going one way, and he would jump in and be like, "Look, look, look!" and with so much passion. Like that was the thing that I actually started this about. Like, look, everybody, listen to me, and no, hear me out. And as soon as somebody, like
But even still though, when I said that,
you were changing the topic of conversation. One logical thing didn't follow the other. You were jumping from place to place to place and trying to make connections where sober people couldn't do so. They couldn't follow with you. Okay, like I've been in this thing long enough, and I also drink. You know, like I know what you're thinking for the most part, but I also know that it doesn't flow well for a live stream. That's what I was getting to here. Like, so if somebody is, thinking of a live stream, like, and a sober person who's listening on YouTube, they don't want to hear some guy just going on tangents and monologuing.
I don't think I was on tangent at all though. I
No,
would love to. I would love to go back to the recording and listen to myself being this belligerent drunk that you're talking about, because I would say that that's not who I have been.
I didn't say. I wouldn't say that you were belligerent. I mean, I guess maybe it would fit into the definition of belligerent, but when I personally think of a belligerent drunk, they're usually obstinate. They're usually very, you know what I mean. You haven't, and you're never that way. You're never obstinate. Like,
well, to be fair though, people do some of the stuff you're saying, even being dead sober. I don't really want to call names right now, but there are certain people that do that. See, I don't like, I'm not a very like controlling person. Like I'm much more like live and let live. So I find it like, it's not my nature to be like harshly moderating, like, boom, that person's monologuing, mute them, boom, but I do notice like lately I've been doing a little bit more of that, not just like straight muting, but maybe jumping in. For example, if we're right in a conversation where it's building and someone's responding, and we're right there, and somebody comes in like, hey, let me just blah, and they're just going to go in some totally other direction. It's really hard when that happens because like we were right in a thing. And if it's an open panel where like anyone can speak, right? It's like anyone can jump in, then it ends up, it just, and then once that person does on that whole other thing, after they're done with their speaking, now it's like, okay, well, we were on that thing before. It's been disrupted now because now this other person brought. So now what do we do? Does someone else respond to this other thing the guy said, or do we just ignore that guy and be like, okay, thanks for sharing. We're gonna go back.
yeah,
to the
you
topic.
ignore that guy. It's important. It's important that you keep people on task. Like, you have to, and I expect this to be done towards me when I'm doing it because I know I have my times. Usually, when I'm mostly sober or sober, like I'm pretty good at staying on task. I'm one of the guys that actually will bring you back to like, hey, this is how we got here, and you've derailed, and you've this and that. Like I'm pretty good at that until I've had like way too many drinks. But
yeah, because I think like it's a better listening experience for people. That's the thing. Like when there's like all kinds of interruptions and chaos and or quick topic changes and all over the place, it's like a worse listening experience. It's like a hodgepodge. So I just noticed that doing a little bit more of the proactive moderation makes the listening experience better. I don't like it because I don't want to have to like tell other people like stop or don't do that or don't derail, like but it's kind of the nature of it. And the thing is, like, in a way, it's almost like being like a referee in like a sports game or something. And there's something good about a good ref. It's like, oh, to make it fair. Oh, that was a foul or whatever it may be. A good ref.
Even a good ref turns a blind eye sometimes.
But Gio, talking about earlier, in reference to earlier, the only time that I spoke up, Witsit corrected me and shut me up only because he would come from the angle of you're giving them an out. So when I would say something that I'm like, whoa, wait. This is blah 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 blah. And then Witz is like, no, shut up, because you're giving them an out of the discussion, but it doesn't mean that I wasn't saying something valid. It just means that I was saying something like taking them off the fire that Witsit was trying to put them against, and I respect it, and I shut the fuck up. Yeah, I at least I respectfully do that.
Yeah, I experienced that happening too. Not really the being drunk or not drunk for anyone, but some people just do that to where I feel like we're right in something and there's a back and a forth and there's like, in a good way, someone's feet being held to the fire, meaning we're getting to the logic or whatever it is. And then when someone does that, either a sidetrack or whatever it may be, it does I cringed in my mind. I'm like, oh,
Well,
that's cringe because we were right at something that was about to get to some conclusion, and now either that person, sort of, it just. I'm not saying like an out, like that you have to roast someone in a gauntlet and you have to. I'm not saying in that way, but more just in the way of getting to something that could be productive. But it makes me think too, like we do have a role on the server, Livestream host, and there are various ways to implement that. But it makes me think of that. I mean, Witsa does have the Livestream host role, but that's the thing. Like if how like on a radio show when like if it's like George Norrie or whatever it may be on a radio show where you're taking call in, how that host has like ultimate control. He can cut someone off. He can just totally keep it on topic. There is something beneficial to that, where someone's like hosting it to where it's not that they're being rude to just like mute that person or whatever it may be. It's that they're actually like curating the content for the audience to keep it on track in a very particular way. So I think there can be benefit to that, like hosting it in a way
you
that
need to.
yeah, it's not like you're trying to be
When,
rude to people. You're just trying to actually like keep it, on track in a certain way.
when there's a conversation at hand, you need to follow it to its logical conclusion before you move on to the next topic. Then you go to commercial break, and then you bring up the next topic, right? In your George Laurie or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna have this segment based off of this, and that next segment based off of that. So like you have to stay on topic, or your point, though it may be valid, is not wanted. It's not relevant. It's not for the time. And if you're gonna scattergun, like which this is something that does happen, and I saw you do it earlier, Apocryphon. Like we were talking about one thing, and all of a sudden you took it to like space, like the moon. Like all of a sudden we want to discuss whether or not the moon landing was real. Like that.
Right.
That's not what we were talking about.
Right.
Like so.
And respectfully, I do fall off of that, and I shut up, and I even mute myself because I get that maybe I'm coming from one angle to like discredit what the person was saying, but that's not necessarily what has to be said at that moment. So I do respect that. Even in my drunken stupor, I do that. Now that does happen with people that they're not drunk at all, but they do that. But
yeah, you're right. Sober people do that, but they're quickly corralled. Whereas like somebody who's drunk will. Here's the thing: is like when you're drinking, a lot of times you think you're on fire when you're not. Like you think that everybody's loving what you say and that they're kind of hanging on your word and that you're just killing it. But no, that's all you. That's all you. You went in that case.
What's the topic?
I'm just saying, if you play,
now
I'm
we're
just
kind
saying,
of talking about like we were kind of talking about like moderation and hosting and keeping on topic and drunkenness when people are drunk or whatever. I mean, we could get onto a topic. I mean, but it is. I just think about what's the best listening experience. Like many of us are spending, whether it's a half hour a day or 2 hours a day or 5 hours a day. So a lot of people are working, they're in and out, they're multitasking, doing various things. So I just think about those of us that are here, whether it's 50 listening or 100 or whatever the number is at that moment, it just what's the best actual experience for everybody, So that's
right. So Gio, when I jumped in, Gio, like about like what 15-20 minutes ago, if you want to play the playback, you realize that the conversation went deaf. Like there was no one talking about it at that moment, and that's why I brought up the co-show of the video that I posted over in Gem Panda server.
Are you saying that we had dead air because you weren't like pushing the conversation?
He's saying he brought that up because there was dead air, and this is getting stale.
Right. So that's all I did, and it did spark conversation, and here we are. I mean that now then we jumped over from that conversation over to drunkenness and moderating. Yeah, that's fair. That's fine. Yeah, you're right.
It's almost too boring to recap. So
no, I agree.
Yeah, I was to say though,
you did that horse. We're done. We're done.
We're beating a zombie horse. But yeah, but what Jeremy he does sometimes says, "Hey, give me 5 minutes with this guy. Give me 5 minutes." Like he's gonna beat him up or something. But No, I think honestly, if there was something like, if you can tell, because it happens a lot sometimes, and then people have to say, hey, they're having a back and forth. You guys back off a little bit. But I think if like it was like sort of a recognized thing, like if two people were going at it, they get like 3 minutes, a 3 minute segments, like 3 minutes at a time, the 3 minutes, and if they're still going, the 3 more minutes. If that was like recognized, then it'd be easier to, you know, people would recognize not to jump in because most people actually can tell. But then somebody might come in or somebody might not be aware of what's happening, and they don't. But
I'll give you your 30 seconds, dude. Fuck your 3 or 4 minutes, dude. 3 or 4 minutes is a long fucking time.
Well,
That's a
I know what
long.
Coach was. No, I know what he's saying though, because like, yeah, like that Great Angelo and Witsit. Like Great Angelo came in. He hasn't really been around on here in a while. And Witsit, they were talking about the curved visual space thing, and it was like, uh, it just there is a value to like to letting the two people actually go back and forth without, because when there's a point, like one guy makes a point, the other guy makes a point, and when someone else jumps in, it just doesn't allow those two to hash it out. Some of this stuff just takes more like aggressive moderation in a way, just to be like, all right, this is what we're doing right now. These two guys are gonna go back and forth. Please, no one interrupt. It's just that kind of stuff, and it can be it can be a good listening experience when you can hear that, because your mind can actually follow, trying to get the knowledge that those two people are dropping back and forth without all of the kind of scattering that sometimes it's not always a bad thing when someone scatters, but it's just everyone has their thoughts, and so it's just when they contribute something different, it just throws off the flow of whatever it may be sometimes.
So about that, I mean, being an open forum, I don't mind an interjection here and there, like, but it needs to be quick and succinct. Like, it needs to add to what one of the people that's already talking says. It has to be a point that maybe they missed in something they said, or and you just get in and you get out. That's what I try to do often. Where I'm not trying to hijack it and monologue. Like I just want to make a quick point and then allow them to continue with what they're talking about, because I'm not trying to derail their conversation.
Right.
That's one thing. When you stay on point, it's cool. But when all of a sudden you're like, you guys are talking about relativity, but let's talk about the fake moon landing. Like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, there's exactly. There's a lot of nuances. I mean, I'll say too, like there's also like the stage room on Discord, where you can do it more of a stage style, but it's not the open panel vibe with that. Like everybody's in the audience, they have to like raise their hand to come up on the stage, but that is a way to make it more like a call-in show where like everyone's in the audience, and let's say someone comes in and they want to say something, they raise their hand, they're brought up on the stage, and then they speak their piece or ask their question or have their thing, and then you can kind of put them back in the audience. So it's almost a way that's more like a call-in show. It's like, okay, this person's up, they're going to say their piece, but that takes away the open flow vibe of it. Then there's also, doing events kind of thing where it's like a specific event, which we're about to do a platform update. Like it already is available that like any mod right now, any moderator can create an event. And then we have Livestream 1 and Livestream 2. There's even a third one if we need it at some point as well. But so that's another. We're gonna do like I'm gonna announce like an actual update where there's gonna be a couple new things that are gonna be added in addition to like announcing to everyone with that as well. So that way, there can be those more options for those events. Although we have tended to use this live stream, everybody kind of congregates here, because if you start splitting up multiple rooms, then a lot of times people kind of want to be where the action is and hear what's happening. So there are pluses and negatives to doing that, to kind of having different events. But I'm just saying that's another option, because there is something cool about an event where you can be like, all right, these two people are going to talk about, let's say the curved visual space topic, and then there's somebody hosting it, and it's really going in deep. You're hearing different people's, ideas, so there's pluses and negatives to all these different structures.
I gotta tell you, in my personal experience, so like over 24/7, like this sounds exactly like what tried to happen over there. We tried to break things up. Like, hey, we had a lot of traffic. Smaller rooms would perhaps be better, because when they get too big, it gets a little too crazy. And tried to make more than one stream and more than one room and all that. Yeah, it doesn't work. I don't know why. Like, I don't know how you could possibly think on that. Maybe you could make it work, but it doesn't work, and it literally sounds like it's literally following like step by step to the downfall of the 24/7 server that's led them into the lull that they're in now. Not that they're gonna be done. They might revive, but like they they really lost a lot of people, and the streams are just whatever. The point being is that yeah, you were absolutely correct when saying that they will follow um, each other. They will create, like, you can try to break them up, but it won't work. You can even force them into rooms where like eh, uh, you know well, we have too many people in this room. Let's create a second stream. It won't work. They're gonna all want to be where Witsit is. They're gonna all want to be where QE is. They're gonna all want to be where Fight the Flat Earth is. Where they're all gonna all want to be where with the biggest name on YouTube. Like that's where they flock, and they flock together like birds. They don't really have much of a mind of their own.
I just want to point out that I'm not as big of an asshole that people paint me out to be. And
No, you're not
an
an
asshole, man.
asshole.
You're
You're
good to
not
go,
an
man.
asshole. I'm not trying to say you're an asshole. I mean,
Let's end it. Let's end it right there, man. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, should we get
so-
on a
so-
topic perhaps? I mean,
Yeah,
I hear what
yeah.
you're saying with that, Lou. I do think everyone wants to be where the action is in general, whether it's somebody that they like listening to or whatever it may be. And with these discussions, like it's obviously not at a point where there's billions of people watching or listening. So it's like it's still kind of limited in that way, but there is sort of a community vibe to it, to where people want to hear what the new thing is or what's going on. So I do know what you mean. I mean, we've had 2 live streams running. We've even had 3 streams running at times. We've even had times where there's all 3 running on YouTube and there's like 10, 15 people, in each one. So I mean, yeah, but I know what you mean. It does break it up. And then there's the pluses and negatives about the events versus the open panel as well. But yeah, we'll
So
kind of continue,
so to get back on topic, Kosho, I tagged you to the video that I posted earlier. And if you want to go down that route, we can. Or if you want to change it up, you can talk about something else. I don't care. I'm just saying.
No, I mean,
Uh,
I've already said what I had to say about it, though, right? But that the dude is not saying one statement. He's not saying, "Hey, this is the first time, or we're going to be live. We're going to be recording everything. We're doing experiments. We're testing all this stuff, and we're going to show all of it to you." He's not saying that. He's saying, we're taking so much footage. We're recording everything, blah blah blah. And then he's also saying, "Hey, this is the first time we're going to live stream from the vicinity to the moon." And maybe he said that like it sounds like he's saying that in the same thought, but he's describing all the footage they're going to be capturing, and also some of that footage they're going to send back live. You're right, but
well,
not explicitly saying that.
well, my argument to that, Kosho, is that if you start your conversation with, we are going to be recording the entirety of the mission, then that alone like stands on its own foot. No matter what you say after that, and I get what you're saying, he doesn't say that this is going to be for the public. I get that, but he is saying that there's going to be a recorded, documented live stream of the entirety of the mission. And this goes back to the earlier argument, to where myself and Witsit was asking you, well, then where's all that footage? And that was the whole argument. Because now we're at a place where, okay, that footage doesn't exist. Even though this guy in the video himself said, this is what's going to be, now all of a sudden, it's not that. And that was the argument.
I assure you, it does exist. The problem is that, like, even the Artemis team, because I've called people and emailed people for separate, separate data, separate videos, whatever. But it's completely compartmentalized.
I get it. Yeah.
Like different people deal with different aspects of the data. Like the data we were talking about with the stars,
Right.
It's one different team and totally separate. Not even working in the same company
Building.
as
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not just building, dude. Not even the same country.
Oh,
And
nice.
really, yeah. So there's people at JPL. There's people at Goddard. There's people in Germany, and they're all different pieces of the same project, and they don't have a concentration of all the data in one hub. And you'll talk to somebody and they'll act dumbfounded, not even knowing themselves where the data is, because you have to talk to the specific part of the team that is dealing with that to access that data.
So where do we get the link of the cameras that were facing down towards the earth, and they had a 24-hour live stream of
Why the
that
hell?
data?
Why would you expect that? Remember that bald guy from the video that you're talking about?
Okay.
In what world do you think that was one of the fucking videos that he was describing having? He's talking about having live footage.
But why wouldn't it be
He's
though?
talking about having recorded footage of all this stuff that they need to look at. They need to study and
Exactly.
investigate.
Exactly.
They're not investigating the Earth. Oh, they're flying away from it. They're talking about on the craft.
That's not the argument. That's not the argument, Kosho. The argument is if they have a GoPro camera facing a certain direction and they're going to record that in the entirety of the mission, where is that video? That's the argument, Kosho. So
Yeah,
if you okay, go ahead.
It's not all. They don't have all of that in one place.
Okay,
It's not all
where
concentrated in one place.
so then direct me to that one place where we can see that.
Well,
That's
if you go to
hard.
NIF, you go to NIF, NAIF, NAIF.gov or .nasa.gov.
Post it.
That's
Post
that.
it.
Well, I'm saying this 4 letters long. NASA's also only 4 letters long. Gov is only 3 letters long. So.
So you can't.
Anyways,
so you don't want to post it?
No, I don't. I don't feel like it.
It's only 4 letters.
I could type it out. I could type it out. I could type it out in the search
only
bar
4
and make
letters.
sure that's the correct website. But maybe if you want it that bad, you could try to go to Google and make sure that it's typed out correctly. But those 4 letters, in some conjunction with NASA.gov, or maybe even JP. I think it's NASA.gov. Doesn't matter though. Will be an entire database with all their data that they, and then that's not even the only one too. There's another one that I'll give you. It's like a database of all the stuff that they have. But the thing is, it's not collected together. You have to specifically go to like each.
Kosho, I want to
mission.
point out. You finish this. Go ahead, but I want to point something out. Don't carry on.
I'm not carrying on. Go ahead.
No, not. It's not related to what you're saying. So finish what you're saying.
Okay. Oh no, I'm done.
All right. When you were defending Apocryphon and saying like, he's not this, I feel like you were pointing out a soft target. This is going back. Like I kind of think you want to use him against us. Like he's somebody who is not at full state of mind, and you want to go ahead and bounce shit against him for your side. Like,
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, I think you
says more about your opinion. It says more about your opinion of him than my opinion of him. Because actually, I'm fond of Apocryphon, which is why he's having like right now. He's having back and forth.
He's a soft target. I think he's a soft target.
He's not a target. He's not a target at all. At all. He's having a back and forth. It's friendly. He's fair.
Thank you.
He asked me to look this shit up for him. I told him I wouldn't. He didn't. He didn't protest that. So,
all right.
Perfectly
go ahead
fine,
and keep laughing, man.
Like
that doesn't make you look better. Like,
I laugh because I'm drunk. I'm a happy drunk and I laugh. Come on, man. What are you trying to get at, bro?
I'm trying to say that he's using you as a fucking as a soft target. He's trying to
well,
like a low-hanging fruit kind of thing.
I hear what you're saying.
Except for I'm not even attacking him though.
I hear what you're saying, but let me rebuttal that. I hear what you're saying, but there are times when I've had many conversations with him, very sober, and it's not. He never has treated me different when I'm either drunk like a motherfucker or sober as a motherfucker. He's never. That's one thing that's why I like Kosho, because he's a baller that isn't a piece of shit like most ballers. And I'm
No,
sorry if
I'll agree. He's not a total piece of shit. Not a total, unless he knows what he's doing. Unless he
not
knows.
a total.
Have any of you guys seen the that amazing feat that China did? They built like a bridge, this massive bridge, in 48 hours, and they
Yeah.
recorded. Yeah,
Yes,
they
I have
recorded the
seen that.
whole thing. It was all
Yeah.
in detail, and that's an amazing feat of humanity. You'd think
Yeah.
that type of detail would be applied to rockets.
Ooh, that's a good question. I have seen that video. That's fucking amazing. Being that I know that I'm in the industry to where we build shit, China fucking blew us out the fucking water with that, bro. Like, okay, let me give you an example, okay? So in California, when we're erecting a building, on an average, you better put up at least 90 pieces of iron. Now, when I went to Arkansas, they were happy when they put up 5 pieces of iron. So local 433 was like we get shit done, bro. Like we go hard to the paint. But like you said, China, they built something way beyond what local 433 fucking even does. And I hear you, bro. Like that they made us look like fucking idiots, bro. Because that's amazing. That's amazing what they did. But I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Look, you speak a lot without thinking it through, and I think your emotional response is something that he's like being using as a crutch. I think he likes you
Dude, Lou, what do
because
you got against Apocrypha, bro? I mean,
I know, right? Like,
holy shit.
why you keep shitting my
You've been
fucking
on
front porch,
Apocrypha
bro?
for like a minute, man.
no, honestly, like it's not. Look, it's not against Apocryphon in this case. It's about Kosho. I think he's using Apocryphon.
No, I wouldn't agree to that, bro. He has never like I said, he's always been fair to me, whether I'm shit faced drunk or sober. Like, but maybe you have. It's okay if you have like a different opinion. That's okay. I'll
Look, I
accept that.
wouldn't
That's
have
fair.
said that if it wasn't for Kosho's statements earlier. Like when he quickly came to bat for you. Like the things that he said, like I think he values you as a tool in his arsenal, another club in the golf bag.
I
Like
wouldn't agree to that because
that's the way I think he thinks of you.
All right, man.
here's
But
why.
this conversation, hold on, man. This conversation ain't going nowhere, man. Let's move on to another topic because this
But
is just
but
ridiculous,
real
man.
quick,
No,
listen.
no.
Hold on.
Apocrypha, I'm putting an end to this type of conversation, but you need to just move on to the next conversation.
Okay, well, that's fair, but I'm just saying, like, you will never have a tool in your bag that's calling you a fuck face and a liar. Because I do that to Kosho. Like, how are you gonna keep me around if I'm against
Oh,
you?
you're the one using him. Got it. All right, you win.
I'm just saying, like, me and Kosho have a really long-lasting relationship in this Discord server. Not this one, but in Discord in general. And I've always appreciated him. He's appreciated me, and we go back and forth. Like, if I'm constantly like going against his beliefs, how is that him using me for his beliefs? That I don't get what you're saying right now. But yeah, you're right though. Let's change the subject and
Yeah,
let's
change
go
the
from there.
subject because you're exposing all kinds of what I said.
I disagree, but that's okay. That's your belief. That's your that's your your perception. That's okay. But
Well, I'll just say, well, I mean, yeah, I do agree we should move to maybe just a brand new topic, something totally fresh. But just one comment on that. I'm not trying to like call Kosho out entirely, but I think Kosho does that sometimes. Like, I feel like he's like joking, but like if somebody makes a point that is really not a very good point and he doesn't really agree with it, he'll be like, "Oh, it's a great point, man," just to kind of try to like, kind of like troll the opposite way. I don't know if I explained it right, but like if someone comes in, I'm not even talking about Apocryphon. Like if somebody comes in, let's say quote unquote on the flat earth side, and maybe they just say something totally like whatever that's like obviously kind of not really on point, like to the topic or to something, Coach will be like, "Oh, it's a great point, man." It's kind of like his way of like,
Yeah, no. The specialized Globers know exactly what they're doing. They know when to pounce. They know how to use somebody for their like. Look, dude, you could Apocryphon. You could have completely, like good reason for your passion and all that stuff. Like they will find a way to use you for their point. They
I get what
will
you're saying.
try to.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Osho is not to be trusted. He's not a good guy.
I get what you're saying, but I would argue. I think that I make pretty good points. But hey, maybe that's debatable. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm making points against because I think logically, and then I've brought up many points that Kosho has. And maybe this is your maybe a testament to your argument. I brought up points, and Kosho has told me like, yeah, that actually that makes sense. You're right. But I would say, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm right because it makes fucking logical sense. So yeah, you're at least this is why I say at least he's
They're
honest
going
with
to
himself.
take every little pinhole that you give as an exploit. They're going to try to exploit you. That's what they do. That's why they're here.
That's fair. That's fair. I hear you. I hear you. So Kosho, can you please
Let's
stop
do a
doing
new
that?
topic or something, unless there's still one going. If anyone else wants to bring one up, or I mean, unless Apocryphon, if you had something that was
I was just gonna say like, Kosho, if that's what you're doing, you son of a bitch. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, dude, just make that legit because that's what he's doing to all of us, not just you.
Right. Well, I do think that we have had conversations to where he actually would concede, if you will, because he does because and the proof in that is because he'll shut up about trying to prove a point one way or another because of the logic that I may have introduced into the argument. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm misreading it, I don't know, but his silence I think would be to me a clear example of how he's at
I
least
want to make it clear.
realizing one thing.
You and Kosho are not friends. Okay, I want to make that very clear.
Oh, sure, I hate you. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding.
I used to think me and Coach O were friends. Those days are over.
Jeremy.
killed by Coriolis.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I think maybe you guys are just discrediting him uh, because of his views on Earth. When he's actually a decent guy, but hey, maybe that's my bias. I don't know.
No. I want to tell you. Look, he's not a bad guy. Like he doesn't. I mean, he's not. Well, I mean, actually, you know what? I shouldn't even probably say that. I want to give him more credit than he's deserved. Like what he proves himself to do is be very manipulative, and he's good at it. And because he's likable and all that stuff, I want to say that he's not a bad guy. But it doesn't mean that it's authentic. It doesn't mean that it's true. He is literally manipulating you and many others at the same time.
Well, earlier, if you were here for that good discussion, as to what Witsit was asking him, and then I showed the video of them saying a certain thing, he literally like just dropped out of the conversation because I want to say he knew he
Yeah,
was
because he's
wrong.
good at. He knows when to fucking dip the fuck out in order to save face.
Well, because he knew he was wrong. He knew that it
No,
was
that's not. No, you're assuming that. He
okay.
knows
That's
when
fair.
he knows when he needs to shut the fuck up in order to keep his fucking scheme going.
Mm.
All right, I think can we move on to something else?
Absolutely.
Talking about Coach Wally's here. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't mind talking about it to him. He can jump in at any time. His silence tells me that I'm right. Like, go ahead, Kosho, tell me how I'm wrong. I say this in front of him, not behind his back.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, go
actually the way to go. Is right there. Yeah.
There you go, Coach. Speak up. or forever hold your peace. He's not.
Yeah, he's being coached not to respond. All good. Let us talk about something else. Lou, I believe Lou, you're right 100%, dude. All day, you're right about that.
He's very manipulative. He understands psychology. He knows how to work people. Like that's not like a positive attribute.
Well, I do too. Shit, when I go to that McDonald's drive-thru, I know how to get that extra cone, no charge. You feel me?
What?
Yeah, my wife just did that too. She goes, "What?" You know, I know people. I can get an extra cone out of a one cone pay. You feel me? No.
Asking you shall receive. That's what it is. Because the customer's already right.
Yeah, exactly. KJ and she said we're gonna go try that out now. She's like, go on, order a cone, motherfucker. Put your money where.
That's funny. I'm gonna have a beer. I'll be back.
Okay, man. Try to slow down on the beers. Just saying, love you.
Thank you. Love you too, brother. You know, brother in creation. Thank you. I just know that you know, there's more beers to drink, so I drink them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, look, the positive attributes thing that I said, like, so when people are trying to work you and so on and so forth, like, you can be likable and also work somebody. Like, and I'm not trying to say he's like actual CIA or military or anything like that, but he is doing a job on you. Okay, like he might not be being paid for it. He can do this on a voluntary service, but his work that he's doing is something that they are willing to pay for. Just letting you know.
Or is he just a guy that believes what he believes and he just sees it a little bit as a sport to
But
debate the
yeah,
stuff?
it could be a sport, but yeah, what he's doing is a true psychological fucking twist on your fucking head. He's throwing you into knots. That's him and Zanuck together, honestly, both of them.
Well, here's how we know that you might. Here's how I know. I understand you might be right. Is that no matter what we do, they can't be honest that they don't live on a spinning ball in an impossible medium with water conforming to the outside of it. You know, so like at the end of the day, I don't care how nice someone's been to me. If someone's fucking me in the ass, I don't care how nice you are. You fucked me in the ass. Sorry, we're all adults here, aren't we?
Well, it depends on your perspective. Did you invite the ass fucking, or like was it like unwanted? You know what I mean? Like
Okay, now let's take it back.
most of these motherfuckers are like asking for it. Honestly,
Which ones? You mean Kosho and Zanuck?
no, they're the ones doing the raping. I'm talking about most of us are literally asking to be raped.
All right,
We're
well,
not. We think
Cody's not
we
working.
think
What?
we think that we're fucking strong. We think that we know the truth. We think that but no, we fall for the bait every fucking time, and they take us down these fucking twists and turns, and they can convolute your mind and put it in your butt.
I would actually argue that that's not true. We hold these guys to the fire sometimes, and we
sometimes
we do, but you're right. Listen, I feel like when I show up, I'm already taking the bait for their like to consider their position, even though I'm going to be a dick about it the whole time. You know what I mean? Like I'm yeah,
right.
You're right. I'm showing up saying, "All right, let's do this." Yeah, you want to, but they show up too. That's the problem. But the only difference is, I don't. I'm not on the wrong side of it, so I'm not showing up to an unfair fight. Like I'll just hold my arm out, right? I'm not going to let it be an unfair fight. I'll hold my arm out to the little guy. He can swing away, and I got him just arm's length, and he's swinging away. And whenever he wants to admit that he's wrong about this, then he can. He or she. Sorry, go ahead. I don't know if someone's trying to.
Yeah, but
talk.
nobody has to engage or discuss with anyone they don't want to. I mean, this is a very complex. In terms of the shape of the Earth, there's a lot to it, and I often say this. I bring this up because when people talk about some of these globe guys being paid or being all this stuff, I mean, I've mentioned my brother he's like an engineer and he's very intelligent and all that, but I mean, he definitely believes the globe, and even though he's not like in these discussions, he's actually pretty darn good. Like he knows a lot of
Dude.
this, compared to most people. And I'm just saying he's very rigid. He's not like as intense as Kosho or Zanuck necessarily, but when I like discuss it with him, I mean, it is similar in a lot of ways. And he's just a guy. He's just a guy who believes it very rigidly. And people that want that like they're defending their entire concept of reality. Their entire life from childhood, what they think human life even is. So it's a very deep seated.
I agree completely. That's why I said, like, most likely it's on a volunteer basis. These guys are literally being manipulated into doing this job, something that they would pay big bucks for. You do a good job at it, and can do it day in and day out, and you can, like, perhaps there's good money in that. I'm not saying like that all of these people are paid. I'm saying that some of them might be, and that this conversation is probably steered. Okay, like it's likely. It's not just that it's like a possibility. It's likely.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by steered exactly. I mean, I think that they're interested in the topic, probably curious to the idea that the Earth actually isn't a globe enough to be into it enough, but they're not either willing to see it or able to see it, I should say, or able to navigate it in a way that, in my viewpoint, is coming to the correct conclusion. If they're obviously thinking it's a globe and so on, but they may just see it as a sport. They're into it. I could also go on the spiritual level, like that. I mean, in my viewpoint, it's like the whole globe thing is a very dark, demonic type. That's where it comes from. It's like deep deception and imprisonment of people's minds and stuff. So, like on a spiritual level, it's like we all have the light and the dark within us to some extent. And I'm not trying to like say every globe earther is a demon or anything like that, but I'm just saying that.
No, you do understand that there are like CIA like farms and beyond the CIA, they're the top of it. Like every branch of the military, the army, they have an entire branch where none of them ever see warfare. They literally just sit behind computers in their own homes, and they're troll farms. The army, the Air Force, like literally every branch of the military does this, where it is their job to try to disrupt and control the minds of people online, to try to intercept any kind of any kind of dissent towards the official narrative. That is their job, and like this is literally admitted. Like this is like it's not a conspiracy theory. Like there's branches of the military dedicated to this, where they get paid very well for it.
Lou, I agree. And I'm going to read this is relevant. I posted a live stream text, a meme somebody made. I forget who made it, but anyway, so it says, the truth cannot be stopped. All over the internet, the governments have deployed teams of online agents to persuade others from learning the flat earth truth and other truths. These agents will spend more time in groups than its members will, persuading others to look no further or by any other means necessary. And they are anti-flat earth tactics 1 through 6, and they are: deny any evidence presented by a flat earther, claim the flat earther didn't supply evidence, ask for evidence from the flat earther even though they just provided it, deny and deflect further evidence even with references that clearly state what we've presented as fact. Number 5, use ridicule, ad hominem, and gaslighting. That's their favorite, right? Little drama. And then number 6, repeat 1 through 5. They know they're losing. That's why they're doing this.
Yeah, and that's where I could go on the spiritual side of it, that there's like, they may be expressing like a darker side of their psyche. Not that they're necessarily hired by the FBI or the CIA to do this, but just that like there's that part of them that's like almost, they're like they're like being a minion for the dark side without even really knowing it. Like maybe they just believe it, maybe they're possessed by it, maybe they whatever it may be, and then they're expressing it. So they're playing that role of trying to stop the truth or cause chaos or do that.
I'm just saying, if that is true, then there are agents embedded within all fucking internet counterculture, not just flat Earth, but anti-vax, abortion, Christian, and so on and so forth. Like within every one of these conversations that happens, there are people who are embedded within it that try to either disrupt or steer or fucking control the conversation and take it in the direction that they are directed. And if I was to point fingers at somebody in this community, because we've been here a long time and there's like I've said before, a real person, an actual person who is not interested in flat Earth, they wouldn't dedicate this amount of time or effort. They have to be somehow encouraged. Perhaps it could be on their own addendum, but most likely for somebody who is diehard and really outspoken, I think they're somehow being, either paid or influenced in some way to do so. So, and look, Kosho, agreeable person, dude. I wish you weren't paid, but I think you are. Zanuck, same thing. Left lane, same thing. Like all of these fucking guys, anti-flat earthers, they have
Left lane's a trucker,
they have all of
Left
the
lane's a
anti-flat
trucker.
earthers.
Left lane's a trucker, bro. He drives a truck. He's not a CIA agent.
No, fine. CIA agents have cover jobs too. He might claim to be a fucking
dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I've seen him on video in his truck driving, bro.
That's fine. Maybe he's driving from place to place while also doing this.
All right, we gotta get on a better topic. Can we get on a better topic, please? We don't need to sit here and talk about who's agent. Is there any
what I'm saying is when you're doing this, you are suspect. Okay. There are agents in place. We know that.
Are you one of them?
Are you one of them? We don't know for a fact.
All right.
Cool. It's like when they say we are everywhere and we are nowhere.
And the problem is, who doesn't matter? Who cares? They are.
The point is.
No. It matters. It does matter because
you can't prove anything, can you?
The truth's going to get out.
You can't prove anything. You can speculate.
Well, no,
you can assume, but you can't do shit about it, bro.
Well, no, you can. This is why I think we shouldn't even feed the beast. We shouldn't engage with anti-flat earthers. Globers and anti-flat earthers have an extremely different definition. Like people who think they live in a ball, that's one thing. People who are here to fight against flat Earth, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but listen,
Lou, this isn't 24/7, Lou.
Hold on.
This is Earth Awakening. Everybody has a chance, whether they're agents or not. They got a chance to speak here.
Well, here's the deal, too. It doesn't matter what the agents do or how effective they are. It's all temporary because the truth comes out. The truth dominates every single time, and that's what we're doing. We keep growing, then there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think the truth wins. I mean, I even like the idea of agents. Like in my thought, one of the ways I've seen it, I'm not saying it's not good as a consideration to think about who might be what and so on, but like the way I see it in a way, like NASA, for example, is already doing so much damage. They are the biggest misinformation agents ever. And they're already on the front page of every social media, newspaper, and everything going on. They're already just blasting it, just blaring in our faces. So that's already happening. What is one dude in this conversation who could be muted or timed out if we needed to do that, if their conduct was problematic? What are they going to do? You know what I mean? Like they're not going to like do anything. They're not going to be able to. And like the truth wins anyways. So NASA already is doing way more damage than one person who's in here, wanting to debate about air pressure or whatever the topic is. Plus, even if they are debating that, if they're wrong, then it allows people to see what's wrong and gives everyone else a chance to see what's right. Like, okay, that person's incorrect on their thing and they're asserting it, and now I can see how the other person that was correct, laid out the truth, and and then that's mission accomplished in terms of the truth being brought to the surface.
That reminds me of a show. There's
I'm
a TV
shocked
show.
I got through that without Lou interrupting. He must be going to get another beer.
No.
There's a show.
I was just finding text. I wasn't meaning to interrupt you ever. I was finishing it. I was responding to you, but
shut up.
clipping you on understanding where you were going. So like that. That's. I'm sorry for doing that.
There's a show about I guess you would say he's like a Russian plant in America, and he lived like a life of like 20 something years to where he had a wife, he had kids, and then in the beginning of the show there's like a barbecue happening, and one of the females that were invited, because it was the girlfriend of one of the guys, like she recognized the guy, and she was like, oh my God, she was terrified because he was known to be like this crazy, like disgusting, like communist, like a killer. And then and she's like, oh my God, that's blah 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 blah. And then he ends up shooting all the kids, his wife, he shoots everybody in the party because she was blowing his cover. So yeah, you're right. There are people that can come into, they're living a certain life, right? Like, I'm a truck driver, don't worry about it. But there is that aspect to where there are people that, I'm sorry, I got cut off because I got a phone call. There are people that are playing this life, and then because they get exposed, they can just knock off everybody because it's going to blow their cover. So I get what you're saying, because that does exist.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to keep talking about agents. I mean, there's thoughts I have on, I'm sure we all do, but I'll say this one thing. I think, I'm not saying that there's zero. I think Marky Sargent is, anyways, I mean, yeah. So there are, I mean, he's the guy that's on the front of all the stuff. And I know, he's the one that comes up on YouTube, and he's been on the BBC. And I know that there's people even in this community that think he's legit. Anyways, so I'm not saying that there's no one who could actually be a part of something, but I think there's very, very few. And I think that they would only need to put like one or two of their dudes in, maybe three at most, just to kind of like be in there, kind of be in with the crowd. Oh, he's at the conferences, and he's buddy with this person and that person. It would make sense to have at least like a guy or two who's kind of one of the front guys that they can put on the Netflix documentaries and all this stuff to kind of, so that makes sense to me that there would be, someone, but I don't think that some CIA is just paying like hundreds of people to be in here debating with us on here.
No. Like I said, the CIA would be like the echelon. Like that's where they would like throw somebody in. That's like, well, that would be one or two or three, right? But like the troll farms from the Army and the Air Force and all this, like they would be coming in at the hundreds at the very least, thousands most likely. Like there could be thousands of people who are there to disrupt and move around from server to server, place to place, to always just be the antagonist, to always just be. They don't even have to have anything of value to offer. They don't have to be very smart in it, but just to contradict the things that are being said.
Agreed.
Yeah, but how effective is their thing if we could just time them out or mute them?
Well, not only that, it's good to know about. Hold on,
do that around here, do we, Gio?
It's good to know about, right? It's good to talk about sometimes, but like this, I think we're droning on about it, and they are letting us waste time not talking about the real subject. But again, I think it's very important, Lou, and everybody. But like, let's not harp on it anymore. We got other shit to talk about.
I mean, great. Yeah, we can move on, but like literally, I think this is this is the topic at hand. Move on. Go ahead. But
well, it's
the
just
people who-
it's a fine line between building a community that's a cult where it's like we don't like you, we think you're an agent, we think you're an agent, ban,
No,
versus
I'm not
an
a fan
actual
of,
open platform that is fair.
I'm not a fan of calling people agents and all that stuff. That's why I haven't called that many names. There's a few people that I said, like, that's who I would recruit. Like, if I was doing such a thing, I would recruit some of these voices. But I'm not trying to say that everybody who has dissent towards us is paid or is a part of a program. You know, that would be paranoid. That would be ridiculous. Like they can influence people, and that's the whole idea of social influencers. Like they get people to do this on a volunteer basis. They get people to do this out of passion and love and their beliefs and emotions. You know, generally it. That's most of what we're dealing with. But at the high end, I think it's being controlled.
I don't see how fruitful is this conversation though.
Why are you one of them?
I mean, anybody can expect of anybody being an agent, but like, I mean, like anybody can expect anybody of being an agent, but I'm like, how are you gonna prove that somebody is an agent? There's
Are you,
nothing.
are you are you an agent? Are you an agent? Like
Am I?
seriously, like
Am I, Luke?
that's no, I don't
Luke, am
think
I?
so. I don't
Okay,
think
then.
so. But like,
So exactly. So how would you know if
that
somebody's an agent?
question,
Though? I
that
mean, I don't see this
question,
conversation being fruitful whatsoever at all.
dude, it's not fruitful to go back and forth with people who have disingenuous reasoning.
I mean, you don't have to go back and forth with the person. If you think expect that person to be an agent, just don't give it your time of day. That's it.
I agree with that statement. I think a lot of people, and I think it's very evident that some people, the people who should really just be kicked out or not paid any attention to are the ones who come in for the main sole purpose of wasting time. It's kind of like if you're trying to do some work and get some work done, and someone's coming around taking your tools and scattering them about, you're never going to get anything accomplished. And I think those kind of people need to be sharply addressed.
Yeah, but I
and
hear
I
that
don't know.
term a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick. Okay, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I hear that comment a lot, wasting time. I mean, first of all, we all choose where we want to spend our time, especially on the internet, which is there's so many places you could be, obviously. So I mean, we all choose that first of all, and obviously, whoever is like debating, let's say, with someone that someone thinks like somebody might think that guy's a time waster, but somebody else is debating with him and going back and forth with them. So obviously, that person talking to them doesn't feel like it's a time waster, and then the 20 or 30 people in the VC and or 20, 30 people on YouTube, whatever the numbers are all listening to it and spending their time too. So if everyone really felt like it's all a time waste, they would all leave, and it would be just one time waster left. So
I'm as suspicious as to think that there are people embedded on both sides of the argument where they might go back and forth with each other as a plan. Like like there are people on the flat Earth side that are representing the flat Earth side disingenuously, and that would possibly engage with the same type of agent on the opposite side in order to look inept and so on and so forth. Similar to like a Joe Biden. Like, how can you run this country and look so inept? Like, what are you fucking doing? They're better. They're better than just like one or two layers of chess. Like, and I'm not like a Q-tard or anything like that. What I'm saying is, these guys are better at this game than what we give them credit for. They know how to manipulate your mind. They know how to manipulate a conversation. They know how to control and steer a conversation.
One thing I would add to that is, and I understand the fact that, sometimes the argument or the conversation or the debate is simply for the audience. when it comes to a certain point, it's simply for the benefit of the audience to learn about it. But when it's the same thing over and over with that like one or two individuals, that's what I mean by time wasting. And it's kind of like everyone gets it at one point, and then it's just gone over so many times, and it's just screamed about, and then the insults come, and that's what I'm mainly referring to. But I wanted to bring up something real quick just for you guys. I don't know how you feel about it or if you've heard of it, and if I'm changing the topic, just let me know. I'll stop talking. But this new bill trying to be passed in Tennessee with the medications and the Second Amendment trying to take your firearms if you're on medications, and not all of those medications are for mental health disorders. So I said a while back this would be one of the ways that they could, disarm the people. Think about how many people are medicated, especially and think about what those side effects for those medications are. They could make a very strong argument to disarm you simply based on the side effects alone. Now, I would say also that you have different states, doing away with the permit and letting you just go buy a firearm. Now, I think that's a great thing that everybody can buy a firearm, but is it like a scam to try to boost the economy, get all these people to buy the firearms? Then the next thing we're going to hear is, oh, you're on medication, we have to take the firearm. So is it like a little boost to the economy, like a scam, and they're killing more birds with one stone, or what's going on here? I think this is going to be prevalent, and it's going to be all over the news soon.
I have to call you an agent, man. I'm just kidding. Dude. I'm just saying, like, this is what they would do, though. Like, I understand Gio wants to move it, and you're just helping him, okay? But like, the idea that there's agents on both sides of the conversation is one that they would never want to be exposed.
Listen, it's logical. Listen, it's don't be stupid, folks. There's agents on every single tiny little aspect of this. They probably hire. There's probably somebody sitting in the corner of this conversation in some server that doesn't get any attention, just in case somebody comes over there looking, up for flat Earth or whatever, for some truth. They can be the one that person finds to deter them from. Okay, there's agents everywhere. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, if I'm talking about agents and I'm talking about them being embedded in both sides of the conversation, and both sides coming at me saying, let's not talk about that, let's change the conversation.
If there's agents, wouldn't that mean there's double agents?
No, don't talk about those.
Of course there are.
Yep.
Why are we going back to talking about agents, bro? Like, come on. We said we're moving on.
I'm acting like an
I
agent.
know. Hold on, but Lou,
but I'm an agent for the agents.
Yeah, Lou, I don't know if you were speaking of me, but if you were, I'd like to know, what do you mean by that?
I don't think everybody's an agent, man.
I don't know enough about you, but like seriously, yeah, you would be in the tier.
What are you talking
of, like,
about? North was in 24/7 long time with you too as well. Dude. What are you talking
yeah, fine, fraud, like, dude, fraud.
I left on my own also, so.
Yeah. Look, a lot of you guys. I'm not saying. I think it's so hard to explain.
I mean, you keep bringing it up. Like, there's no point into bringing this shit up.
It's so hard to explain, but I'm going to do it. Okay, right now.
We said we're moving on from this topic.
Most of you guys don't know how you're being.
I'm gonna have to mute you, Lou, because you said we're moving on from the agent conversation, and you want to bring it back to that same shit over and over again. Please stop. Let's move on to an actual topic that actually is fruitful in a way where there's a flat earth about what North just brought up. Don't have to speak about agents. North ain't. North
That's exactly what a double agent would say.
Yeah.
Seriously, man.
You're not moving.
Like a true triple agent, Brian.
Yeah, don't be a triple agent. Look, what I'm saying.
Dude,
Are you,
how
have you
would you
been
even
drinking?
do that? How would you even do that? It's agent inception. Like, how would you keep track?
It's a concaver
Have you been drinking, Lou?
pretending to be a baller.
Your loyalties go to the highest bidder. Your loyalties pretty much go to whoever pays the most, man. If you're a triple agent, nah, I'm just joking. But
Yeah,
man, I
you
want to say
certainly
like I want
All
to
right,
tone it down a little bit, but
I'm gonna
not
tell y'all one
completely.
time right now. And listen to me. If y'all keep talking about
Okay.
agents, I'm gonna start not only muting, but I'm gonna time y'all out
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
for the
there
rest
you
of the
go.
day. For the rest of the day.
Dude,
Let me
well,
tone
This
it.
is
look,
just
look,
this is
look.
it.
You
That's
know,
it.
if I'm pushed, if I'm pushed, I'm gonna go that way, right? So mute me now.
Talk. Let me tune it down a little bit without totally changing
I'm
the
not gonna
subject. I want
mute
to
you.
tune it.
I'm gonna time you out for today. How about that?
Yeah.
If
Let's
you want
totally
to come back
stop talking
tomorrow,
this.
because I want to talk about the fact that this is a controlled conversation.
Oh fuck.
All right, wait, all right, how does the room want to navigate this? I mean, I personally don't mind talking. I think it is an interesting topic. However, if it starts getting this thing where just everybody's being accused of that guy and this guy, it does get a bit. And think about this too: if you call someone an agent and they're not, what does that do for your truth radar? You know, your integrity. Meaning, if you say this guy's an absolute agent and he's absolutely just not, he's just a dude. He's a trucker. He's a whatever. What does that do for your now? Now you're in some. You know, I'm not trying to call someone out for that. I'm just saying you know, it's like you were just dead wrong. It's not bad in that sense because you're speculating or thinking. There is some value to this conversation. However, I don't know. What does the room want to do? I mean, is there any value to this?
what is it gonna lead to, bro? I
One
mean,
thing.
I don't see what conclusion are you gonna reach?
I would argue if before you mute me, I would argue that half of you are agents and that the other half are not.
You see what I'm saying? You see, Joe. Everybody in here is an agent. You know who you sound like? You sound like freaking what is it, Dodo?
No, if you want to mute me,
you,
Dodo.
Dodo did that to me. Accused me.
You want to mute me? You want to? If you want to mute me,
Lou,
then
because
you
we
are.
said,
Then you want to control the conversation in a way where you don't want the idea of there being a controlled opposition that is controlling the conversation.
Does it matter? Who cares? Who knows? Who's
guys,
an agent or not?
let me tone it down a little bit
point?
without
Hold
completely changing
on.
the
I'm talking. What fruit are you gonna get off of this? What are you gonna gain? There's agents, yeah, maybe. Who knows?
He gained what he wanted to do, man. Listen, he gained what he. Listen, let me
He
say
changed the
one thing.
conversation, right? He changed the
Can I say-
conversation from what you just brought up.
Yeah, exactly. So no one addressed what I said. No one addressed that people, not we, because I don't take medication. I'm not on any medication. But the majority of the population of this country could be disarmed in no time. And that discussion was avoided completely. So I would like to know anyone's thoughts on what I said. And if it's, something we don't want to talk about, we don't have to talk about it. But I'm just saying it was avoided completely.
I hope
And
it never
very,
comes to
very
that, bro. It is a
strategically
definite
on my
possibility, but I
behalf.
hope it never comes to that because the shit's gonna hit the fan. I ain't ready for that, bro. But damn, that is a possibility. I hate thinking about that, but I guess it is. We maybe should attack it head on. But there's a lot of people, man, a big portion of America, man, who wouldn't be down for that. But that's when shit's gonna hit the fan. That's the final move, right? And,
but if you tell people they can't have medication, they'll choose the medication over protecting themselves. A lot of people who are medicated would choose the
What they're going
medication.
to do is actually they're going to disarm you because they're going to claim medical reasons. They're passing laws right now. They're going to claim medical reasons why you should not be allowed to own a weapon. They're going to say that you're not mentally capable of owning a weapon, and they're going to take those weapons from those people. And for the most part, even the conservatives, the weapon owners, are going to say, "Yeah, that's fair. That's good enough."
Yeah,
and that'll be that. Dude, they're not going to back it up. They're not going to back you up. They're going to back them up initially, and that'll weaken the gun owners. That'll weaken them.
Yeah, I thought that because what's gonna happen is they're gonna do the same thing that happened in New York. Yeah, they're gonna pass the law, but then it's gonna go to somebody's gonna bring bring it to an appeals court to justice, and it's gonna get overruled. That's just gonna be changed.
Yeah, ain't it state to state, APOC? Is it a state decision, like state to state? I
Yeah,
hope it
so
is
it's
anyway.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
Tennessee right now.
it is state to state, but just like how Texas has open carry, Wisconsin has open carry. Like, we have a lot of open carry laws, but not all states have that. We have conceal and carry in some states. We have, you know, like where you're not allowed to carry in other states. It, I don't know what that's called, but that
Yo, I
those
roll.
states.
I
That's the
roll.
one good thing about capitalism, y'all. With the
Hey,
guy, the people with money, you know,
I know,
like
Brian.
especially
I
like
know.
in Texas. Sorry, go ahead, Jeremy. I didn't hear you.
I rolled dolo from state to state. When I was in Vermont, there's no gun law. There's like no gun laws. You can just conceal carry if you have a Vermont license. You go into the gun store, get a pistol, whatever you want. You can conceal carry it, open carry, whatever. It doesn't even matter. In New York
Open
State, though,
carry,
you cross
open
that line
carry
in New
is
York
supposed
State.
to be federal, right?
Holy
Like,
shit! Do you not hear? Do you not hear Jeremy?
Yeah, I didn't think he wasn't done. I don't think.
dude, I apologize. Look, I know, yes,
My
yeah,
bad.
but
My bad. I had to breathe.
I got next, man.
Anyways, you cross that line.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So, like, in each individual state, you can.
Cut out.
Jeremy, as soon as you cross that line.
I was muted when I was trying to tell. I was telling North that you were that Lou was next, but it's your turn, Jeremy. Go.
I was just gonna say, you cross that line into New York State, you can't do none of that anymore. At best, you can just go into a store and buy a rifle. That's it. And then, but a few years ago, New York passed the SAFE Act, where they implemented all kinds of rules and shit. It was crazy. They ended up taking it away. Our governor was an asshole. But the major point is though, they want us to be unarmed ultimately. I mean, if you want to control people, do you want them armed or unarmed? That's pretty obvious.
Go ahead, Lou. Lou?
All right, yeah, all right, I'm open. All right. What I was saying is that open carry laws are federal. Okay, so like that's part of your Second Amendment. So like this is something that you're allowed to do everywhere. Now, when it comes to hiding your gun and shit like that, like that's on a statewide basis. You go everywhere. Oh fuck! I lost my fucking. Do you guys hear me? I lost my mic.
We can hear you, man.
But you can go anywhere in the states and still follow those federal rules. Like, it is your Second Amendment right to open carry. It should be anyway. There are some states where they say they don't have open carry laws, but that's unconstitutional. You don't even need you don't need to qualify for a fucking conceal license to open carry. As long as you holster it on your hip, visible, you should be able to do that.
Is that it, Lou?
Go ahead, North.
Right, go ahead, North.
Yeah, this is what there's another side to this coin. So this is also what I was trying to bring up, is that a lot of states have recently, done away with the getting a permit and going to the sheriff's office and talking to the sheriff and all these different things. And so just recently we've had such a big buyout of weapons and ammunition and things like this. Do you think they didn't know that this was coming and this kind of narrative was going to be pushed upon Americans? Of course they knew. I knew when I said it in 24/7. I knew when I said it here. I've known for years that this would be one of the avenues they would try to take to disarm the people. You just look. I mean, it's a great argument. Just look at the side effects, bro. I mean, you're gonna maybe attempt suicide, have suicidal thoughts, or all of these different side effects. But with this law, this bill that's trying to be passed, it's in Tennessee, and some of those medications are not for mental disorders. But we know all types of medications and the mixture thereof will cause side effects. And they don't know what those side effects will be. So they're going to make a very strong argument. So what I'm trying to say is if you're on medications, maybe reconsider what you're going to do with your future about your medications, or I mean what you're going to try to do when this narrative is pushed upon you, because I'm telling you, it's not just in Tennessee, it's coming nationwide soon.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I got cut off, but do you guys hear me now?
You didn't get cut off. You said you're done.
No, I didn't say I was done. No, my earbud died, so like I had to switch. But you're a dick for saying such a thing and laughing. By the way, I caught your joke. You're a dick. No, he's absolutely right. Like, so they're gonna do that. Like, open, like, your ability to hold a weapon is going to come down to your mental stability. They're gonna do something similar to the COVID thing. Like, they're gonna say like, the government is in charge of whether or not you're sick or healthy, and they're gonna decide whether or not you can own a weapon if you're sick or healthy mentally. Okay, that's something that is coming.
Well, what is the? I thought you were done. Well, what is the law, North? Like, what is the actual thing that they're trying to pass?
If you watch that video, it kind of goes into some detail, and it names the specific medications that would prohibit you from owning a firearm, and how many days after you taking those medications are you able to possess a firearm. So this narrative is being introduced, although it's been the plan for a very long time. Trust me, it's been the plan for a very long time.
Yeah, it inhibits your ability to purchase a firearm from the date that you start taking the medication until like 6 months after your last dose or something like that. And when you're prescribed that medication, you have to waive off your HIPAA rights.
Yeah,
such
exactly.
that the pharmacist can release your information to the government, putting you on a ban by where you can't buy a gun. But I know at least one state representative in Tennessee that calls it bullshit, and his vote will be no on it.
I understand. Yeah, I understand your point, but what I'm saying is this has been the plan for a while. And how many people do you think? What's the percentage of the population do you think are on medication or prescription drugs?
Absolutely. I mean, half the damn state representatives.
More than half, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, are taking half the people in Congress, half the people, in is what you have. The people that are drawing these fucking bills up have lost the the basis of what Americans are and freedom, and they feel like that they're the boss of us, and they can just write shit and take control of people. But thank goodness we might have a few. Yeah, well, I mean, there might be a few people that do represent the people and will recognize it as bullshit and stand up for us. We hope, but there may not be.
Well, I want to point out. What Trump said shortly after the Florida thing. I think it was Parksville or whatever that was. The one where what he said was, we knew that this person had these guns and so on and so forth, and we should have gone in and taken them. What I'm saying is, take the guns first, due process second. What he's talking about is like the government deciding whether or not you're mentally fit to own a weapon, and if there is suspicion that you might use it in such a way that is against the public, then we should have all the rights in the world to take them before anything actually happens. Like, And he's saying worry about the laws, like your protections, your constitutional laws that protect you, like your Second Amendment, to own a weapon. Like, take the weapons first, due process second. So like,
Can I,
just take
chime
it
in?
now. Oh, no, hold on. So he said this, and only because he was posing as a Republican, which he's not, did people accept this type of rhetoric. When
Can I
it
go
comes
now?
to the,
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I go? Because I have a different take on the gun thing, and because I have kids and they're grown, and I watch how they by the educational system, that kind of thing, and they are adamantly training all these kids to not want guns, not to want anything to do with them, with all the psyops and things they're doing with the school, and they're constantly getting drilled. They have drills all the time at school. Um, they'll have these, so-called people that call in and say there's a bomb threat, stuff like that, and the school goes on lockdown. These kids don't want guns. So when they grow up, they're going to get rid of their parents' guns that they're left with when their parents die. They'll gladly
Yeah.
give them up for a video game. I mean,
Yeah, no, they're never gonna own one, and they're gonna sell
but
their
that's
parents.
why,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying, that they can come out with all this legislation that really never passes. It's just a threat. When behind the scenes, they're going to get what they want, the no gun society with the kids. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe the single family,
Yeah.
like single kid families, but like the multi kid families, bro, there's a good chance a couple of them
Yeah.
already got guns around.
Yeah,
Well,
my children.
even still, you're a minority. Like
Yeah.
the country homes, like, and even within those multi-child homes, like in the country, like with a gun history,
But the
like
country,
they're gonna have that. They're going to have that propaganda reaching on their minds. They're gonna say that, like, guns kill, guns kill,
No,
guns kill.
well, I mean, I've got a granddaughter that's going to graduate this year, and she's already got a pistol. And there was a gun threat at her local school that, it was reported an active shooter. It wasn't. It was fake, but the town shut down for it, and blah blah blah. This and that happened. She totes a pistol right now, and she's not graduated high school yet.
Really
Yeah,
quick,
my
guys.
kids all got protection
yeah,
at their
my
house, man.
my
Really,
kids too.
really
But
quick. I'll be real quick. Real quick. So it's being attacked from all different angles, and to the children and to the people on medication. All these different avenues they're taking. Of course, even if you watch like a show like Cops, remember Cops, and you remember when they would find a gun in the car, and they would be like they were so scared to pick it up, and they would pick it up with their end of their fingers and be shaking. Oh, it's a gun! It's a gun! Like it's gonna go off in their hand, right? This whole way of thinking is being pushed upon people um, so much.
Hey, man,
That's all I wanted to say.
on that note, it's extremely interesting to say that, like, it's really funny how, like, cops' guns go off all the time, like literally all the fucking time. Not just like once or twice, but like entire clips reloading and fucking going off again for an entire clip. Like, but in those cases, it's for the protection of everybody around them. Like they've done well. Like, you didn't just incapacitate a person, you killed them, and you made sure that they would never come back again.
Well, we can't let them take the cops' guns, bro, because if that's probably be the slickest thing they could do is disarm the police, because then that they're gonna have to disarm the public if the cops can't even carry guns. So you're gonna have to take that one with a grain of salt. And if I was a cop, I damn sure wouldn't go without protection. But I think everybody has the right to protection in their home.
Well, there's a deeper layer to this legislation that they're trying to pass. Well, that they're supposedly trying to pass, because they've raised all these kids to be wimps. There's that layer on it too. I mean, these kids when they go out into the workforce, they take mental days. They call in sick, but it's a mental. I need to take a mental day, and that's
Yeah,
part
what's
of it
wrong with
too.
that?
Yeah, but all these kids have been brought up to believe that there's something wrong with them, that they need to take depression medication, they need to take anxiety medication, they need to take
here's what's wrong
ADHD
with that.
medication.
Like, can you look at
It's
the world
layer
that they're
upon
facing?
layer.
All right, hold on,
Look
Lou.
at the
You're
world
doing
that
the
they're
thing,
facing.
Lou. Hold on, man. You're doing the thing you were saying, APOC, the drunk thing, dude. You're
Yeah,
You're talking after everyone talks. You're interrupting. You're monologuing. You're doing.
I'm waiting though. But go ahead.
All right. Well, I don't know if she was finished.
Well, I kind of forgot my train of thought, um, but yeah, it's layer upon layer of what they're doing to these kids. I mean, they're getting brainwashed into believing that they have depression by age 6. I mean, this is being taught in all these schools to look for depression, and they're also taught at the same time because I- my oldest sister has grandkids that's in the school system, and they are being taught that um, to question their parents, to pay attention to their parents to see if they're possibly on drugs or something else, or if they feel like they are depressed and all this mental stuff. They're teaching the kids to look at their parents that way. So I mean,
Yeah, maybe single
it's
kids.
bizarre.
I don't know, man. That's just not the world I come from. But I respect what you're saying. But I could go in. I got 4 of them in there, like 2 of my kids, and they each got a friend. I bet you if I go in there and ask them about that, they'll all laugh at me, like literally. But I respect what you're saying, and they are definitely trying to push that. They do their best to try and push what they're acting like everybody thinks, But most of the people nowadays don't fall. I don't know. I've been surprised
I mean,
before, but I can only
I
hope
would
that
I would say a lot of them do, and I mean, our kids didn't because we taught them different, right? We taught them to be thinkers,
yeah, true,
think
true,
for
true.
themselves, and the school system now, you're not allowed to think. You memorize, 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 take the test, and pass. I mean, there's no logical thinking anymore.
Yeah. But I mean, when you say "our," you said you're a grandmother.
Their sister is
Like,
oldest sister.
Yeah, my
like,
sister.
okay, your sister. But we're talking about covering about 3 generations worth of not like how schooling works. Modern schooling literally is a brainwashing tactic. We thought we had it bad, right? And we all we had to do was see through it and just pass the test and we'd be good. No, they're not satisfied with that. They want to get involved. They want to get oh, his parents think that. Well, let's get the social workers interested in that. Um, it's at a point where now your children in school have to accept a very, very extreme indoctrination, or be basically separated from their parents. That's kind of the extreme they're doing.
Does that ever happen?
Yeah.
Well, I know a couple kids at the school that my sister's grandkids go to that they were not expelled. They had their 3-day suspension or whatever for something they did on Facebook.
Okay.
So the
But that's
schools
not really.
now are watching. I mean, they're indoctrinating these kids to basically follow the program or else. So that I
Sounds
mean
like those
that's part of it too.
like those kids got in trouble, but what Lou was talking about was like, you know, if
The
they're not
state
happy with the
taking
way
over. The
you're,
state takes custody. Do you understand that when you send your kids to public school, like they're literally underneath like the custody of the state? Like during that work day, like when th're watching them, they have custody. They get to have in fact, I, well, I can't speak to the law on this, but like
oh,
they
that's
have
not
as
true.
much they have as a you're gonna say it's untrue before I finish
It's
my
not true.
sentence.
Well, you
They
mean you
have
cut me off.
as much they have as much control over your child as you do, if not more.
That's not true. This isn't true.
Well, well,
I'm not gonna say it's a
I
lie,
can.
but I'm gonna say it's not true.
Well, I know this school because I went to it when, and it's changed a heck of a lot since I went there. But these kids were also told at 12 years old when the jab came out or whatever that they could take it without their parents' permission.
Yep.
So, I
Same
mean,
thing.
if they
Like
don't have control, I don't know what is, because I mean, the parents were left out of that, and a lot of parents went to the school
I
and
would,
said,
I would, I
"No
would
way,
sue their ass off, and I
no
would win.
way is this happening." And then they had to talk to their kids and say, by no circumstances do you agree to this and take it. Because kids are pressured at school by all kinds of, peer pressure, all this stuff. And the school knows that. I mean, that's
so,
insane to me that they would have done
like,
that, but they did it.
do you guys watch James Freeman? He's one of those like police auditors and stuff like that. He had a recent one where um he explained how this law works in most states. It's not all states, but in most states, it's the truth. When you send your kid to public school, they are in custodial governance of your own child. So
You don't give
if you are
custody.
absent,
Not true. Say
No,
custodial.
yeah, there's.
You're saying they have the cut. They have um custody of them, but that's not true.
yeah,
That's not true
yeah,
either.
they when you send them to them, they have custody.
There is probably, I mean, I'd imagine, I don't know the technicalities of the law, but there's got to be something like that. I mean, when the parent drops their kid off to school, they're trusting that, that the teachers are not just going to take the kids and drop them off on a street corner somewhere. I mean, there's some level of legal kind
Yeah,
of
it's strange. It's
custody
strange.
or whatever you call it, legal guardianship or whatever.
Yeah, check this out. Okay, so I got kicked out of my first high school. Surprise, surprise. Class clown doesn't really stick around too often. I'm kind of smart anyway. The point is, when they kicked me out of my first high school, I was like, well, why does it matter so much that I don't show up at school? And my mom, the first thing my mom says was, it's illegal not to go to high school. I was like, what the fuck? And it turns out, at least in that district, that the parents would receive a fine if the kid was caught out of school a certain amount of times.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's most districts.
What?
Well, see, that's
That's
what's
true
fucked up
everywhere.
about that. Because if they have the
What's that?
custody, if they have the custody, it's up to them to make sure that they stay in school. If they don't know where the child is, then it's their negligence that they should be fined for, not the parent.
In Florida,
I
they
agree.
dropped the
Well,
attendance requirements
That's
to
why
keep people from
they were
dropping
happy.
out, and I think it worked. They
That's why they
dropped
were
the
happy
attendance.
to kick me out instead of let me continue to be found outside of school and kicked out of classes and such. Right? They were rather just like, get them the fuck out of here.
Dude, I still have a report card where I missed 27 out of 45 days and made all A's, B's, and C's. And I got an A in gym, which was based on attendance. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, they dropped the attendance requirements a long time ago. As long as you do all your work, you can go. I mean, you got to go a couple days a week, I would think. But I mean, not technically, you don't. But your teacher's got to be, I guess, capable of letting you make up your work and stuff. So I
Well,
do my
here's the thing.
Good.
So the James Freeman thing that I was talking about. There was a case, I forget in which state. I think it might have been Missouri. But there was a parent who pierced his son's ear, and that child was at school, reported hearing from a teacher that he told other students that his dad was drunk and that he forcibly pierced his ear. They took that as a child abuse case that they had no choice but to report.
No
The
shit.
cops, the cops raided the house, and came in going, "We are going to make an arrest, not just ask questions, but we are going to make an arrest on this parent for being a child abuser." Okay, like,
It's not news. That's typical. That's what the
Yeah.
state that runs the school, they have an obligation to talk to the whoever if they think the child's being abused by the parents, and then the CPS has obligation
no,
to
no,
do
but
something about it.
no. Hold on. But what you're talking about is literally, um, it's all just the word of what they heard. It's hearsay. It's all hearsay. So, like, how do you know that the kid didn't didn't like what's the right word?
That's a good
Exaggerate.
point. You're right. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Lie.
And while they pierce their arm, and they're going to try and arrest a father who may or may not have even done that,
You don't think they're going to investigate it?
Yeah.
They just
Surely
throw the guy in
they
Investigating
wouldn't
is
prison?
just.
one thing, but coming in and making a forceful arrest is a whole nother.
Well, if it's a minor, they usually act immediately, and then they usually investigate, and then they usually do something after the fact. But if there is a, because I have my girlfriend's sister, something similar happened where it was just a claim that was made, and they came in and they asked quite, they had like a assessment or whatever. So I mean, I guess it's sort of extreme that they actually arrested the dude.
over
But
a period.
I assume
You
there's probably
you don't
more.
think
There's
like
more
like
to
let
it.
me ask you this: any teenager, if you don't want your ear pierced, like, can you avoid getting your ear pierced? All you gotta do is shake your head a little bit. I don't want my ear pierced.
But the claim was that he was forcefully pierced. His ear was forcefully pierced while his dad
Through
was drunk,
hearsay. Through hearsay. Yes,
as per
that's
what
the
the
No,
teacher said
hearsay.
in
that
the
was from
police
the
or
kid.
whatever.
That the kid said that, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and at the end,
The
the
kid
teacher
said
heard
it
it.
on, like, the playground or in the school. A teacher heard it, reported it. Now, due to the laws in place, it got passed up to the school, like, I don't know, basically the guidance counselor or whatever, where they're also bound by law to report everything that they hear. And then it went to the police, who came in and said, like, this is child abuse. We or like, they're not allowed to make a decision on it either. They had to lawfully, they had to come in and basically, through any means necessary, they had to arrest that man because this kid got his ears pierced. But or just one ear, literally his left ear.
There's probably more to it than
So did you have to
as
hold
it's
him down
expressed
to
up
do
there.
it, bro, or what?
So they
No,
the fact that
there's more
he
to the
answered,
story if you got
the
raided.
fact that he answered the door, and okay, the kid, that's what I'm saying. Like how do you pierce somebody's ear without them agreeing to it? Like,
That
how do
doesn't
you do
matter.
that?
That doesn't matter because that would have been discovered in the investigation, and they would have already figured out what the deal was with that. I'm not going to
No,
answer you
not
instead of them
before the
there.
arrest. They wouldn't. Not
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the
of
arrest.
course.
They
Yeah, but
wouldn't.
that doesn't matter. You don't have to be investigated. I mean, you don't have to have an investigation done to see if you're guilty of something before you're arrested. They just arrest you based off evidence, and then they investigate it, and then they see what's up. But typically, something like that, they probably wouldn't have even arrested him unless there was more to the story, right? Because it seems like something like that they would have simply
Well,
checked
no,
up on it.
like,
And
I can
regardless,
tell you. I can tell you
the
the
point is
more to the story. I can tell you
well,
the more
well,
to
the,
the
the
story.
point is that you're proving against your own point because that's proof that the school does not have custody of the child. But they had to go through the means of getting the CPS and the police involved because the person who's in custody
no,
of him is
not
going to
at
be
all.
responsible.
Not at all. They literally followed the bylaws and said, like, if a teacher reports a suspicion, that they have to arrest, no matter what happens. They have to arrest no matter what knowledge they have, in order to protect the child, because of suspicion from anybody who is not necessarily granted, like they're not trained in it or anything like that. Like, any suspicion from a teacher will automatically make its way through the tiers and create an arrest, to the point where they literally like pushed the door in on the person and arrested him in front of his family. And it turned out that he didn't actually do what the kid said on the school ground.
I posted an article about it.
Just a couple days ago.
It's within about a week. I mean,
okay, I'm reading about it now.
It turned out that, like, he was voluntary in the situation.
Hold up, it says Jeremy was the dad. It says the dude's name is Jeremy. Jeremy Sherland. Hey, that's Jeremy's last name. Wow, dude. I wonder he hasn't been in VC lately. He's getting in trouble for piercing his kid's ear.
Nobody nowadays wants to pierce their kid's ear unless their kid's woke and they're woke. Like, you're not trying to fucking pierce anybody's ear, like.
He says put him in a chokehold and shoved the piercing in his ear.
That didn't actually happen.
So I got news. It didn't actually. Were you there? Because this is what the report says.
According to, later on reports, that was the initial report. That was the hearsay that went through like 5 people. That's not what actually happened.
It says after the teacher was concerned about a student in class who said his dad was drunk and put him in a chokehold and shoved the piercing in his ear.
Right. He said that to, like, the teenager said that to his classmates.
Okay, so if you were a teacher and I mean, it doesn't matter. Let's say he was lying. Even if he's lying, like, I don't understand who's wrong in this situation. Seems like everybody acted appropriately. If a teacher was suspicious that because a kid actually said out of his mouth that his dad was drunk and put him in a chokehold and pierced his ear, even if that was an
investigate
exaggeration.
that.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a big deal. Like, granted, it could be the case that it's not true and the kid was embellishing or whatever.
But it turns out after further investigation that that's not what happened. Now, the fact that this guy,
I mean, you really
when the cops showed up, huh?
How do you know that, by the way?
Well, I don't firsthand know that, but at least further on in the investigation, the police themselves have backed off of that. They're not claiming that that's what actually happened.
Says and he was resisting arrest.
It was because they tried to, when they tried to come into his home, he tried to stop them. Yeah.
Every report that I see says that his dad was drunk and put him in a chokehold and shoved a piercing in his ear.
I watched the video. I watched the video of the arrest. Like, it was on film.
How is this the topic right now?
I don't know.
That's what I wonder about.
Yeah, the point is the schools don't have custody, and probably that dad doesn't anymore either.
Well, I guess the reason it got to this was having to do with like the government pushing like overstepping like their legal boundaries basically, and not investigating into like the actual facts of a situation, just taking things on hearsay. Like this is a situation that was like really a non-issue, and it became a really big overblown issue because the government thinks that they get to control us instead of the other way around.
Arkansas, huh? You know, it's a state that you don't really remember often. Like, I bet you it's like, if you had to name all the states, like, it'd be like the last one you named. But like Nebraska, I always forget about Nebraska.
I'm from Nebraska, bitch.
I was gonna say there's probably somebody in here from Nebraska.
Yep.
The most forgettable states, is that what you're listing off?
I would say Kentucky for me. Or like
I remember Kentucky. I don't know why. I guess southeastern states I can remember. Wyoming is probably the least important state, but Nebraska's just one I forget.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I bet it is. But
there's lots of those things out there called plateaus that the conspiracy kids call ancient trees. I don't know. Do we go into that topic?
But I thought you were from Florida.
No. When did I? Who convinced you of that part?
Didn't you say something about?
Did you say you're in Kentucky? Is that right?
No, he said Nebraska.
I'm from Nebraska. I'm not in Kentucky either. No, I was saying Kentucky sounds like whenever I try to name the 50 states, Kentucky, Alabama, and what was the other one? Arkansas. Those I do just kind of like. I'm like, oh fuck, what are those three that everyone forgets?
Nebraska is the ultimate fucking like drive-by state. Like for me, like every time I've gone to Colorado from Wisconsin, we drive 9 hours through. We drive 9 hours through Nebraska without a single turn, without any hills, without nothing but tumbleweed blowing by. Like, and you go like 95 miles an hour and don't worry about it. Like,
man.
You just literally blow by that shit.
Yeah, totally. There's nothing out there, man. If if we had our wits about us, we'd do some flat Earth tests over a bunch of farm fields and shit, right?
Nebraska's a long state. It's literally half of the trip between here and Colorado. It's half of the trip with nothing to see.
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. But that was the guy from Workaholics. Did you say you went to high school with him? I thought you said that. What's his name? I can't remember now.
This world is not what you think.
Oh, by the way, I've seen the foothills of I've seen the Colorado Rocky Mountains from Nebraska, which is how far away, Glatt?
Oh, it depends on what part of Nebraska, but you're a good 50, 60, maybe 100 miles from where they would even start. Like the Rockies don't go through Nebraska. So,
Yeah. No. When you're driving early morning towards the Colorado and you're going across drive-by country, like you can see the mountains. You can see where you're headed to from Nebraska. Hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, and I've driven from Omaha to Denver countless times. And yeah, you're right. You can start to see those mountains, especially if it's clear and it's nice, like in the springtime, or shit when it's freezing cold in the wintertime, sometimes at night. Dude, you can see all kinds of shit from Nebraska on those mountains.
Yeah, I didn't mean to turn it into a Nebraska talk, but I was gonna say, I thought you said you went to school with Adam Devine, right?
Yeah, Westside High School in Omaha, Nebraska. Yeah, we went there.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that was Florida. I thought maybe Florida might have been in the conversation when you said that. I don't know.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough.
If I were him though, I'd have a fucking condo in Florida. You feel me?
Yeah, he's a funny dude. I've seen some of his stand up in Austin. He was pretty funny.
Yeah, I went to that 2014. I was there.
Oh no, it wasn't 2014.
Oh, okay. He played a few times.
Oh wait a minute, that was 2014.
Yeah, that was.
You were in Austin?
Yep. Yeah, I lived there.
Yeah, South by Southwest.
Yeah,
the Moon Tower.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Glatt.
Yeah, that's funny.
Going back, so okay, Nebraska, you can see the Colorado Rocky foothills, right? like at the least.
Well, yeah, if you're at the Panhandle for sure.
And that's how many 100 miles from them? Because even Colorado, you still have a couple 100 miles or 300. I think it's like 300 or 400 miles in Colorado before you reach the foothills.
Right. I mean, depends on my elevation from sea level in Nebraska, and then the what we're looking at from there and all that stuff. I'd have to look up the distances, but bottom line is you're always surprised when you're driving from Nebraska to Colorado how soon you do start to see those mountains. It's hundreds of miles away, right, on a clear day.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm talking like I think I saw them from like 600 miles away.
Yeah, it wouldn't that wouldn't be surprising because I mean they're the fucking Rocky Mountains, right? They're huge and they go real long next to a lot of states, and on the border of those states, you can, like I said, up in the Panhandle of Nebraska, you could probably see so much of that mountain line from left to right, depending on where you are.
Yeah, it was sunrise. I had that morning shift, and the sun was just coming up, and I literally like after 9 hours of flat land, you notice any hill that's coming up ahead of you.
Yeah,
you know, like you're like what the fuck?
Yep.
You know, like.
Yeah, no, you're right. Hey, listen, I love you guys. Love talking to you. I gotta get ready for work and go out and do some things, but I'll be listening.
Good talking, Flat.
But it was literally 6 hours more of driving before we reached those hills.
I drove from about the middle of Ohio, southern Ohio, all the way to Arkansas. It's about a 10 to 11 hour drive, and left early in the morning. And at one point, before we was headed into Arkansas, the sun was sitting on the highway. I found it fascinating because it was just sitting on the highway. You had to put on your sunglasses or you couldn't drive. And it lasted about 2 minutes and it was gone.
No one's gonna talk. I got a side topic. I bought a watch recently. It's not a smartwatch because I won't be tracked, but it uses like the environment around you, and keeps track of. It's a compass. It's also an altimeter and a barometer, and like lots of other things. But so this thing, without connecting to your phone or the internet at all, it's kind of a survival watch, honestly. Like if everything were to go down, I can still get my bearings. I can still know my altitude. I can still know my like how far I've traveled and shit like that. Like it's pretty cool.
What's the point of saying that it's not hooked up to the internet when you have a cell phone?
Because when shit goes down, I won't have a cell phone.
Yeah, I know, but you're saying you're not. I won't be tracked. It's not hooked up to the internet. Yeah, but you
Yeah,
have a cell phone, so
it's not like a smartwatch. A smartwatch has to be plugged in at minimum every 7 days. Like this thing will go for a year on a on a 20 2033 or 2023 whatever battery, like just a coin battery, right? It'll go
so
for a
you don't have to
year.
charge. You don't have to charge it.
No, I don't have to charge it. It's
That's
on a
pretty cool.
battery and it lasts about a year. On just a coin battery, right? And it'll figure it out based off of just like what you set it for. So it takes a little bit more work. I have to tell it what altitude I'm at, and then it'll figure the rest out, basically.
Wait, you have to tell it what altitude you're at, and it tells you the pressure.
Or I can tell it,
What?
or I can tell it like I can do the vice versa, right? Like I can tell it where I'm at, and it'll give me, like the other stuff. So like, but yeah. So it takes a little more work. It's like, dude, don't laugh about it.
Just
It's
saying.
smart.
Okay, I have news for you, dude. Because most most altimeters in your phone just use the barometric pressure, or GPS, and they can tell
Right,
you.
but no.
What
They
the
don't
altitude is.
just use that. They don't just use it. They use both. So you have to have a connection to get it. If shit goes dark, you don't get either one.
Yeah, I know, but okay. So if it's not hooked up to a real barometer, then it's telling you your pressure based on what you tell it your altitude is.
Yeah, I have to set it with a base setting. So like wherever the base setting is, I tell it where I'm at. I say I'm at 883 feet, and then it figures out how many inches of mercury is the barometric pressure. But then it can also use that to tell me if I'm ascending or descending, right? Like now, let's say we're in The Walking Dead, and all the internet's shut off. Like this thing still works, yours doesn't. So I can find a map and I can say now I'm at 553 feet, and I can set that, and it will
I
also
got news
tell
for you,
me how
dude.
much ever is in. Right?
Yeah, dude. I have a watch and a phone, several phones, plenty of phones, and there's more than one watch, and they all have barometers in them, and they don't need the internet to work. So even if the Walking Dead is happening, if I could charge my phone or a watch or anything, it's gonna tell me what altitude I am just because it can measure the pressure.
Based off of your location, right?
No,
Because your altitude is going to have to do with your location.
no, the barometric pressure, it uses the barometric pressure, in regards to sea
No,
level.
that won't be right. That won't be right.
Why?
So it has to have one setting or the other. So like it can't tell you where you are based off of your barometric pressure.
No, it tells you your
It could
altitude.
know it could right. And the weather conditions at the time.
I guess, but yeah. So my phone will tell me my altitude based off GPS, but most altimeters, will just work off your barometric pressure. But regardless, it tells you your barometric pressure based on the barometer that's in there. It sounds like the thing that you're using
Right.
uses
No,
a
when
table.
I'm talking about a dumb watch that does tons of features that smart watches do, but it does take a little bit more effort in order to do it. So like yours will have to track your every location and all of your steps and everything else. It'll have to know exactly where you are and your altitude in order to say, here's what the weather model says your pressure is at. Okay. Right? And then it'll determine everything else based off of that, because that's essentially what it is. You have a barometer that's figuring out your altitude, that's figuring out. I mean, so it's your in your case, your location is determining your altitude, which is determining your barometric pressure, and then that'll
Yeah,
tell you if you've gone up or down. So
that's just not
in
the
my
case.
case, it's the same, but I have to set it, and it'll work whether or not I'm connected to the internet or my phone or anything else or not.
So mine does
So,
is it tells me the pressure based on the barometer that's in there, and it reads the pressure. Yours, it sounds like yours is using a table in which you tell it what your altitude is, and it reads off the table what that represents.
Go ahead and look it up. Go ahead and look it up. It's a Suunto, however you pronounce it. It's a Finnish company. SUUNTO. It's the core. It's not like a super fancy watch, but it's what's cool about it. What's cool about it is it doesn't depend on the internet to fucking live. I can use this anywhere I go, no matter what, if I have a connection or not.
It does have it says it has a barometer in it. Is it the outdoor watch with barometer? But most cell phones and smartwatches have barometers in them. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
So it's like
but
they have.
fuck
So
it.
you don't need the internet. You don't need the internet for it to work.
As soon as your smartphone goes dark, so does your watch.
No.
Mine doesn't.
I have cell phones that are never hooked up to the internet or the mobile or anything. Say left lanes. What you're saying? Is that yours doesn't?
Yeah, I can run my smartwatch independent of my cell phone. I could be away from my smartwatch. I can answer calls and everything.
I don't want to watch that tracks my fitness and like my pulse and my fucking I don't want that. Like I'm looking for a dumb watch. I'm looking for a dumb house. I'm looking for a dumb car. I'm looking for go and fuck your smart, because smart is just it's a pseudonym for a spy. Like spy watch, spy house, spy car, spy thermostat, spy doorbell, spy refrigerator, spy toilet. Go and fuck yourself. Like I don't want your smart fucking go. I don't want that shit.
Came back as silent. You killed the chat, Lou?
Yeah, I think the spy toilet got everybody.
That's what's up, man. That is what's up. I got AI on the mind. I mean, are any of you guys using these AI tools? Which it is. There's all sorts of neat stuff.
Go ahead, man. I'm still here. Yeah, I was using the spy toilet. While you said it, so like.
I was just wondering. Hey, you know that guy Apocryphon? You ever met that guy?
Yeah, of course, many a time. Yeah.
I was just curious. Just curious. Yeah. So that was AI. Do you use AI, Lou? You ever use that?
No, dude. I'm an anti-transhuman, anti-AI, anti-technocracy, like, dude, I am so far against all of that shit.
Anti-fascist?
And
You're anti-fascist?
anti-fascist, yes, of course.
I thought so. Okay. You know, if the Neanderthals were around today, I bet you they would also be anti-technology, anti-AI, and anti-transhumanism. You know, I mean, actually, to be honest with you, anti-transhumanism, I don't think is a strange sentiment to have, but
It
I do
shouldn't
think
be.
that
It shouldn't be, but for some reason it is. So what
no,
is
it's
the
not.
deal with that?
It's not a strange sentiment to have, but I think that it's not a strategic sentiment to have. I think it's a
Well,
it,
most people have no idea what it is. They just hear trans as a prefix, and they're like, "Oh, you're anti friggin' like transgender." Like they don't understand. They're not. It's not the same thing at all. You're just you're anti-progressive. That's the way they see it. So like progress.
that's the way it is though. Like progress happens regardless. Like progress happens in spite of people's disenchantment with it or whatever. And so yeah, it just to be on the opposing side of progress is only detrimental to
It's not It's not progress. It's not progress. It's see that is that's a problem in terms too. So like progress is only progress if it helps humanity itself. But when it comes to this type of technology, you are disenfranchising humanity and putting progress in quotes like towards technology and saying that technology is the future and this is what we need to embrace and we need to put humanity behind technology.
No, it's not about it's not about putting humanity behind anything. It's about technology happens anyways, and so you can either get in the way of it and be on the opposing side of it, or you can join forces with it and allow it to assist you. But it's going to be moving forward anyways. So that's inevitable.
It will because people who are not responsible towards humanity will push it that way.
Has there ever been a technology that other than nuclear bombs, which is not even the case for that either, but when has there ever been technology that people were able to stop it from actually uh, progressing?
Dude,
Like
all you have to do is not do it. That's like it. All you have to do
it's
is
too
not
late.
do it.
That's what I'm saying. It's too late. Technology doesn't just not progress. Like if it's if it's available, it's gonna be realized.
Yeah, but here's what's fucked up is like when it comes to this type of technology, like everybody who's involved in it, they're like, yeah, this is gonna destroy all of us, and they're like celebrating it. They're like hell yeah, this is gonna ruin us.
How is transhumanism gonna ruin people?
They're trying to turn us into machine.
No, they're just adapting along with technology. So people who don't have arms and legs and eyes and
They're trying to replace us. They're trying to replace all human intuition and thought and consciousness and emotion, love, life, and all of that. They're trying to replace it with an algorithm that is able to be understood and explained and predicted. They're trying to make it into something that is a machine-based fucking understanding that is infallible.
How is that transhumanism?
I'd argue that's already in place.
I think that we're arguing two different So it's both doing that's transhumanism. Also, like machine and human interface, that's transhumanism. Neuralink is like transhumanism.
When it comes to the idea of turning people into cyborgs and machines and shit, like that's something of science fiction. Okay.
No, Google is an interface. That's manipulating you guys. Don't you?